A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed.
Ladies, I'm often reminded these days of a certain nursery rhyme. It happens every time I look into that big refrigerator of ours down at the Kroger store. From force of habit, I expect to see some wonderful Kroger Tender Ray beef, and of course it isn't there. That's when I think of old Mother Hubbard. No, we can't supply you with all the plump, juicy, fresh, and tender Kroger Tender Ray steaks and roasts that you keep asking for. They're just not available because only top-quality grades of beef are used for Kroger Tender Ray. And that kind of beef, delicious and juicy and tender, is grain-fed. But grain is not being fed to cattle nowadays. Instead, most of our precious grain is being used to relieve human suffering. Millions of people all over the world are starving, and the saving of their lives depends upon how much and how fast we can send grain overseas. It's a race against time, and it will be won. Until victory is ours, and until the time when you can once more buy Kroger Tender Ray beef, let me say that Kroger will always provide you with beef whenever any is available, and it will always be the best that is available.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for stopping in. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Almost everyone in Rossville is talking about Penny's coming marriage to Steve Parker. But no one is talking about it in the same way as Grace and Jed Billings. For Grace, as Penny's mother, looks at the coming marriage differently. She thinks,
it may not be the wonderful thing we hope it'll be, Jed.
Now, why do you say that, Grace? The child's in love. Parker's in love with her. They're a good match.
Well, they seem to be a good match, Jed, but let's not forget things are seldom what they seem.
No, don't start confusing me with quotations.
I'm not trying to confuse you, Jed. And I'm not trying to make you feel that Penny's marriage to Steve Parker may be a mistake.
Well, then what are you trying to do?
Well, I'm trying to convince myself that the marriage is all right.
Oh, of course it's all right. Have faith in Penny. You know Penny. You know what a good, clear, straight-thinking young woman she is. She's thought this thing out herself and come to a decision. The decision was to marry this fellow.
Oh, I know all that, Jed, and I'm glad for it. I know very well that Penny and Mr. Parker have a lot in common, love each other very much, but I don't think they're properly suited.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. I don't know enough about Mr. Parker to say exactly what it is, but it's his background, his attitude, as I understand it from Penny. He belongs to a world so different from ours, so different from the one that Penny knows and loves. I'm afraid of what may happen when Mr. Parker tries to take her into his world.
Well, if you ask me, Grace, I don't think it'll be Parker who changes Penny, but Penny who changes him.
Well, that'd be just as bad for their marriage, Jed.
How so?
Marriage shouldn't change either husband or wife. It should change both of them, make them a blend of each other. That's what makes for a successful marriage. But if one, either the husband or the wife, remains the same and forces the other one to change completely, there's a marriage which shouldn't be and can't be for very long.
Well, now, Penny and Parker are sensible people, Grace. Seems to me they'll find out how to get along with each other as they go along. They'll find out how to get along with each other the hard way, but the good way, by having fights and making up, and then having other fights and making up. Why, I know a young couple who used to fight all the time, but they were just as happily married as any two people could be. And I think they fought with each other because they had so much fun making up.
Oh, Jed, you're impossible.
Well, Most of the time, sure, but not now. I think I know what I'm talking about when I say Penny and this fellow Parker are going to have a long and successful marriage. They've both got good heads and know how to use them. If they aren't as adjusted to each other as I think, and you don't think they're an even match, well, they'll know how to rearrange themselves so they'll get along.
Oh, but, Jed, I want more for Penny than a marriage in which he's just getting along.
Oh, no. There you go, taking apart my words again. When I said get along, I didn't mean just getting by. I meant, making a go of things in spite of difficulties. And you know, sometimes, Grace, it's good for a young married couple to have troubles and not to get along too well at first.
Why, Jed.
Well, sure it is, Grace, and you know it. You want everything sweetness and light for Penny. You want this marriage of hers to be perfect from the start. And I don't blame you. So do I. Penny deserves only the best. But I wonder if we're really wanting the best for her when we want everything to be smooth for her.
Well, hasn't she had more than her share of trouble already?
Sure, as a girl, an unmarried woman. But now she's going to be a wife. I think maybe it'd be a good idea if she had a good share of wife's troubles and Parker had a good share of husband's troubles. Grace, they are never very serious troubles. The fact is, most couples look back on the troubles of their first years of marriage and laugh about them. And when two people can remember back and laugh at something they did together that was silly or stupid, well, there are a couple of people who are close together. They're going to stay that way the rest of their lives.
Well, I think I see your point, Jed, but...
Oh, but nothing, Grace. Penny knows what she's doing. She's in love with this fellow Parker, and he's in love with her. They've sat down and thought it out together and decided they can live their lives best as husband and wife. It was a decision thought out by two straight-thinking people, Grace. It hasn't been one of those overexcited, spur-of-the-moment emotional things. I say Penny's marriage is going to be all right, and I say Penny is going to be all right.
Well, I wish I could agree with you, Jed.
Well, I wish you could, too, Grace.
What makes me so afraid the marriage is wrong?
Just fear itself, Grace, that's all. You're afraid for Penny. You know what she's up against now, and you know you can help her with all her problems now. Mm-hmm. But you're afraid if Penny gets into something new, you may not be able to help her.
Is that the reason I'm afraid of her marriage?
Well, what other reason? You like Parker, don't you?
Well, how can I help but like him? Penny's in love with him.
All right, then. You go along with Penny's decision about Parker. You go along with Penny's decision to marry.
Oh, Jed, I do go along with it. I haven't said a word to Penny about not getting married. And I wouldn't for the world let her know that I had the slightest fear. You're the only one I ever talked to like this, and I wouldn't want you to repeat anything I've said to you.
Well, you know I won't.
Not to anyone, Jed. Things have an amazing way of getting back to Penny. It'd be just like that darling girl to change her mind for my sake.
Yes, I suppose she would. But I wouldn't let her.
You know Penny, Jed. When she's made up her mind, there's no changing her.
No, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't try. Say, where is Penny today? I haven't seen her all morning.
Well, if you go to your office this morning, you'll see her.
She's at my office? What for?
Well, doing something I know she hates to do. Seeing Johnny.
Oh.
Oh, Jed, I'd feel so differently about this coming Saturday if Penny were marrying Johnny.
But Penny isn't marrying Johnny, so don't even think about it.
Oh, I don't. It's just a thought. But I think it proves something.
Yeah?
My real fear about Penny's marriage is Steve Parker, Jed. I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid of what he'll do to Penny someday.
Nice of you to come to see me, Penny. Sit down.
Mm-hmm. If you're not too busy for company, Johnny.
I'm never too busy for you. Never was, never will be.
I may hold you to that someday. What are you working out?
Oh, stuff on the drafting board now is a replanning of the playground for Section A out of the project.
That's right. We did decide to replan the entire playground, didn't we?
You've had your mind on sort of other things the last few weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm afraid I have. May I look at the plans?
Oh, why not? You're the boss. Here, take a look.
Oh, Johnny, it's lovely. It's much better than the original layout.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah, you were right about putting the pool in the northwest corner of the grounds. Gives the whole playground a more practical layout.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, by the way, think you can get Parker to look at this long enough to give it an okay?
I'll ask him tonight.
You think he'll let you talk business?
Well, he better let me. Johnny.
Hmm?
Johnny, I didn't come here to talk business myself. I just came to see you.
Oh, thanks,
Johnny,
Penny.
I don't want you to misunderstand or anything, but... Well, you know that I'm being married Saturday, and there are a lot of things to do the few days just before the wedding, and I'll be so busy that I won't be able to see or talk to anybody, and I thought before I got all tangled up in other things, I'd come and talk to you.
Well, I'm glad you did, Penny. Glad you wanted to. It makes me feel that I've long been forgiven about the big mistake I made. And that even though you're in love with someone else and going to marry that someone else, I still have a place in your heart.
You always will, Johnny. I want you to know that. No matter where you are or what you're doing or where I am or what I'm doing, I'd like you to know that you'll always have a place in my heart. Johnny, I love Steve Parker in such a way that I want to marry him. And I love you too, Johnny.
Huh?
In a certain way that I just can't explain.
Oh. Thanks, Penny. Thanks for saying that. It helps. It's going to help Saturday, too, when that man says I now pronounce you. I'm glad you love me, Penny, even if it's just a certain way. Maybe it gives me the right to say, I love you in all ways, and I'll love you always.
But Johnny, we shouldn't let it go as deeply as this. I just came up here to say goodbye and to let you know that you're still something very special to me, and you always will be.
Don't worry, Penny, I won't cause you any trouble. I love you and respect you too much for that. Well, your friends all wish you happiness and success. Well, I wish you more. A double, triple, quadruple dose of it.
Thank you, Johnny. I may need your good wishes as much as I once needed you.
Let's not talk about that.
No, I guess we shouldn't. Well, bye, Johnny.
Goodbye, Penny Gibbs. Next time I see you, I'll say, hello, Mrs. Parker.
Johnny Keith is obviously not too happy about Penny's coming wedding. With Grace upset about it, could something be done to stop it? Why is Grace afraid of Steve Parker? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Heart in Harmony.
Down at our Kroger store, we hear a lot of mighty fine things said about fresh and tender Kroger Tender A beef. And we're just as sorry as you are that it's scarce right now. Still, the scarcity of our world-famous Kroger Tender A beef has been the means of introducing folks to some of the other wonderful meats in the Kroger meat department. There's a grand treat in store for you and your family in a dinner centered around Kroger sausage. That meal is bound to be a success, whether you serve frankfurters or wieners, baked or cooked meatloaf, or a platter heaped sky high with cold-cut sandwiches. Remember, when you buy sausage at Kroger's, you have variety to choose from. You also know that Kroger's sausage is made of selected meats and spiced just right. Besides, it's economical, no waste. So drop in soon, select your favorite Kroger sausage, and give your family a delicious picnic-style and economical dinner.
ladies and gentlemen. 1 year ago tonight, through the facilities of your local National Broadcasting Company station, we were privileged to enjoy your attention at the premiere broadcast of a new series of authentic documented dramas entitled Dragnet. This evening, on the occasion of our first anniversary as weekly guests in your home, the cast, technicians, and producers of Dragnet wish to state publicly that our indebtedness is enormous. For the degree of success which Dragnet has achieved during the past year, our first and greatest obligation is to you, our weekly listeners, for your support, for your many kind letters of encouragement, criticism, and appraisal. If Dragnet is a proven success, then you have made it so. Behind the scenes, we have many more people to thank. Our engineers, our sound technicians, our cast. To the radio editors and columnists across the nation, also, a sincere thank you for your judgment of our efforts. Additionally, claims on our thanks are held by the Los Angeles Police Department, for the National Broadcasting Company, and the Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company, makers of Fatima cigarettes. To all of these, and to you, our gratitude. Here at the starting point of Dragnet's second year of broadcasting, our wish is twofold. First, that we may enjoy your continued support. Secondly, that we may deserve that support. Thank you. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. Scores of lone women have been beaten and robbed. The victims have been unable to identify the criminals. Your job, get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, July 1st. It was mild in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Walker, captain of robbery. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 p.m. when I left the phone booth at the Sunset Drive-In and got to our car. 80K. Anything new? Oh, Captain Walker's wife had her baby. Boy, 8 pounds.
Oh, that's swell. She all right?
Yeah, so's the captain.
Look at the uniform on the waitress them.
Yeah, they sure dress them up, don't they?
Good evening.
Hi, Daisy.
Oh, hello. Didn't recognize you. What do you have? The usual?
No, I think I'll have something else besides a hamburger this time.
Here's the menu. Take your choice.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm kind of hungry. Maybe I'll take a meal.
42R, 816 West. Fried shrimp's good.
Where's that?
Right there.
Oh, yeah. 95 cents.
What's all this stuff I've been reading in the paper?
What's that?
A couple of guys going around snatching purses and beating up women. Paper says it's happened 7 times in the last 2 weeks.
Roast beef, 90 cents.
Roast beef's good, too. Don't you know who's been doing it?
No, not yet. What do you get with these liver and onions, Dave?
Same as with everything else. Soup, potatoes, and coffee.
85 cents.
Why don't they just take the purse? Why do they have to beat up the women?
We don't know.
Well, there's headlines staring me in the face every time I open a paper. I'm getting afraid to walk home at night.
Do you get coffee and dessert with the Salisbury steak?
Yeah.
65 cents.
72T. Roger on your call. Say, do you guys know what I've been talking about?
Yeah, Daisy, we know.
I'll take the Salisbury steak.
Yeah, so'll I.
Hamburger specials on 2.
Well done on mine, please.
Burn. Okay. See you in a couple of minutes.
Thanks.
All units in the vicinity of 1016 North McCadden.
That's us. Get it up.
484 PS and slugging. Code 3. All units in the vicinity of 1016 North McCadden. 484 PS and slugging. Code 3. 61F, take the call. Okay.
I'll let her know we're going.
Okay.
I'll be right there.
No, we're leaving. We'll be back.
Okay.
You know, I've been wondering.
What's that?
Hamburger and Salisbury steak, what's the difference?
Price. To the police officer, the lowest thief and most cowardly is the purse snatcher who preys on women. For more than a month, lone women throughout the western section of the city have been robbed and beaten. The descriptions were confused and varied because the attacks took place at night. 10:06 p.m. We got to the location on North McCadden where the woman was lying on the sidewalk. She'd been badly beaten about the face and neck, and her jaw had been broken. Officers Reed and Shell of Unit 61F were already there.
Any witnesses, officer?
Yeah, this man in the sweater here saw it happen. Says the victim's name's Swanson. This is Mr. Kahn.
How do you do? This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. I wonder if we could talk to you, please.
Yeah, certainly. Do you want to come into the house?
Right over here will be all right.
That officer there says that you saw it happen.
That's right. I was watching television. I heard this scream outside. I looked out and saw these 2 men beating her up.
Can you describe them?
No, the light wasn't real good. They're about as tall as you two, but they had slighter builds.
How old were they? Could you see that?
I'd say they were young, maybe 18, 19. I saw them knock her down. It was terrible. They hit her and then they kicked her. They picked up the purse and ran down that way.
And you called the police?
Yes, but not right away. I ran out and saw them get in their car across the street. They drove right past me. Then they turned east there on Romaine.
Can you describe the car for us?
I got the license number for you. The last 3 numbers were 552.
Just 3 numbers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe the car? What kind was it?
Oh, I don't know. It was new. I think it was black. Maybe a sedan.
Well, was it a large car or a small one?
Oh, kind of medium.
Did you notice the back of it?
Yeah, that's where I saw the license plate.
No, I mean, did you notice anything about the car? Maybe a dent on the fender or a sticker on the window?
No, I didn't look at the window.
Did the car have a spotlight or a radio antenna?
Well, I guess I didn't see any. I was trying to look at the license plates.
Did you notice anything unusual about the car? Any identifying marks at all?
No, I didn't notice.
How about the make of the car? Did you see what kind of one?
No, the last 3 numbers on the license plate were 552.
California license plate?
Yes, it was. That should be enough here. Do you think you'll catch them tonight?
Do you know how many plates end in 552? While Ben called in a general description of the car and the 2 attackers, I talked to the other bystanders. I found out that the victim's name was Mrs. Frida K. Swanson, a widow. She had a room at 1003 North McCadden. None of the neighbors had seen the robbery or the beating take place. 11:28 p.m. Ben and I arrived at Hollywood Receiving Hospital to interview Mrs. Swanson, but she was unable to talk or to identify her attackers. She wrote on a piece of paper that she'd been slugged from behind. She never got a good look at the men. Besides a broken jaw, she was suffering from a fractured wrist, a broken nose, and bruises about the face and body. Tuesday, July 2nd. The getaway car used in the attack on the previous night was found abandoned on Hollywood Boulevard and proved to be a stolen car. License number 6 Young 4552. The victim's empty purse was found inside. Routine investigation developed no leads. We met with Captain Walker. Because the last 4 attacks had taken place within a 6-block radius, we set up a plan of decoys in an attempt to trap the 2 purse snatchers. 4 policewomen from Juvenile Bureau and a special detail from Metropolitan Division were assigned. Tuesday, 4 p.m., a special detail was ordered to the squad room for briefing.
Hello, Joe.
Oh, hiya, Dorothy.
How's your tuxedo? Back in mothballs?
Yeah, how are your feet?
My feet, nothing the matter with them. You're a good dancer.
Yeah, I bet I could use some lessons.
Oh, you don't need lessons, Joe. You need practice.
Okay, let's get started. I don't have to tell you the risks involved in an operation like this. I want all of you to know where everybody will be at any given time. By all of you, I mean the police women and also the men who'll be in the squad cars. If anybody misses anything, stop me. We don't have much of a description of the men we're after.
There are two of them, both about 18 years old. Usually they wear sneakers, slacks, and sport coats. They've been in different kinds of cars, all of them stolen. We keep each car for a few days, then ditch it. Hold on the map, will you, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Now, here's the area here. Residential, 90% of the dwellings have garages, so if a car is parked on the street, it might be unusual. Each of you will be given a list of cars stolen in the last 48 hours, still outstanding. I want you to check all parked cars against the hot sheet. First, hold up your purses, please. Young lady, that purse is too small, I'm afraid. Let's make it look worthwhile.
Yes, sir.
All right. Of course, you won't be carrying your guns in your purse. You wear a shoulder holster. Before you leave, Sergeant Friday will pass out some marked bills I want you to carry. Okay, now, policewoman Short. You'll board a westbound streetcar at Western and Santa Monica Boulevard at 9:03 p.m. Don't worry about these schedules. The streetcar will be there. You get off at Las Palmas at 9:13. Walk south to Willoughby. Turn east on Willoughby to Hudson, then north 1 block to Romaine. You go west on Romaine to Cahuenga, and then retrace your steps to the starting point, and you're through. Got it?
Yes.
You'll be covered by Unit 81K.
Captain.
Yep.
How fast or slow should we walk?
Well, I'd say a pretty good pace. No woman likes to be alone on the streets at night, so it'd be natural.
Yes, sir.
Policewoman Ball.
Yes, sir.
You'll board an eastbound bus at La Brea and Melrose at 9:35 p.m. Okay. You get off at Wilcox and Melrose at 9:45. Walk north on Wilcox to Waring. Turn west on Waring for 2 blocks, then north on Cherokee. Okay. You follow Cherokee for 2 blocks, turn east on Romaine. Follow Romaine to Cole, and turn north on Cole. When you get to Santa Monica Boulevard, retrace your steps to your starting point. You'll be covered by Unit 87K.
Will the cars be cruising or will they be parked?
Both. Friday and Romero will be cruising all the time. I'll get to the others when I finish with these instructions. Of course, if you see any police car, give no recognition.
Yes, sir. Captain.
Yeah?
You said the 2 suspects wear sneakers?
That's right.
It'd be pretty hard to hear them come up behind you.
I'd say so.
Did any of the victims hear them?
If they had, they wouldn't be victims.
9 p.m. The decoy plan went into effect. We waited. Tuesday night passed. Nothing happened. Wednesday night, nothing. Thursday, July 4th, the decoy plan was enlarged to include a larger area, but everything was quiet. Friday, July 5th. Captain Walker decided that the new plan, covering an area from La Brea to Vine Street and from Sunset to Beverly, would be kept in operation. 10:45 p.m. Ben and I cruised the exposed area.
We've been thinking about moving to a new place.
Yeah?
Only trouble is we don't know what's going to happen.
You mean if rent control goes off?
Yeah. We don't know if rents will go up or down.
You've got a lease, haven't you?
71
That's next month.
Regan in Mariposa, 507 party.
We don't know what to do. We even tossed a coin to decide.
Well, that's about as good a way as any.
Coin came up tails 4 times in a row.
Yeah?
Wife changed her mind on each toss. No decision.
Roger, 71R.
Got a policewoman down there?
Yeah, Nancy Short. You got her out there?
South on Hudson, east on Melrose, then up Wilcox to Sunset.
All units, Willoughby and Hudson, 484BS and slugging, code 3.
That's us. Let's roll on it.
83F, Willoughby and Hudson, 484BS and slugging, code 3.
We drove to Willoughby and Hudson, just south of the corner, and saw a woman sitting on the grass with a few people around. She was a young woman, about 25. Her clothes had been torn, and there was a red welt on her right cheekbone. She was trying to get to her feet as we came up.
There'll be an ambulance here in a few minutes, miss. Can you tell us how it happened?
My cheek's swelling.
Did you see who attacked
Yes, I did. I can tell you about them. Look, here, I ripped off one of their pockets. These cards fell out.
Driver's license. George Landon.
Here's the piece of cloth I tore off his pocket.
I'll take that, Ben. Thank you. You want to stay with her? I'll see if I can get a make on this license.
Okay. Now, would you give me your name, please?
Barbara Curtis. I live over on Hudson.
80K to control 1. 80K to control 1.
Go ahead, Eddie K.
Check suspect for making warrants. George Landon, male, white, age 18, 5 feet 9 inches, 155 pounds, blue eyes, black hair. Address, 2722 and a half, Arthur Avenue, KMA 367.
Roger, 80K.
Going to be robbed by a couple of young women.
Did you see the car?
Yes, I saw it. White sidewall tires. It was a club coupe. I tried to see the license plate. I couldn't make it out.
What color was the car?
I don't know. Dark green, I think. I'm so mad I could boil.
Can you describe the man?
Well, you got the driver's license. It's all there.
Well, that's just for one of them, miss. You said there were two men.
I don't know. I grabbed one of their coats and the other one hit me.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I'm so mad about is I tried to scream and nothing had come out.
I understand.
Hi. You're the 63F. We got the call.
That's fine. This is the victim, Miss Curtis. If you'll handle the report and see that she gets home, we got a lead to check out here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Control 1 to 80K.
What's your call back, Joe?
We better get it. Come on.
Right with you.
80K to Control 1. Go ahead.
80K. Suspect has misdemeanor and felony record. 1 arrest, suspicion of robbery, and 1 arrest, GTA. No wants at this time. Most recent address on suspect, 2722 and 1/2 Arthur Avenue.
Roger.
Been in trouble before. Felony and misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Any address matches?
Maybe this clock does.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of beautiful aviatrix Bab Beckwith, one of the few women who holds a commercial instructor's rating for single-engine land and sea aircraft. This is her actual signed statement.
I've been smoking long cigarettes for quite some time. Recently, a friend told me about a really mild king-size cigarette, Fatima. I'm very glad I tried them. Fatimas are a lot milder than any of the others I've smoked and have a much better flavor. I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Friday, 11 p.m. Ben and I drove to 2722.5 Arthur Avenue. It was a small house at the rear of a lot on the east end of town. Alongside the front house, there was a narrow passageway leading to the house in the back with a small lawn between the two. There was no alley, and anybody leaving from the front or back door had to go through the narrow passage. As we approached the house, a light was on in the front room, and through the window we could see a middle-aged woman reading a magazine. We rang the bell.
Yes?
Police officers. Does George Landon live here?
Why, yes, he does. I'm his aunt, Miss Landon. What do you want?
Can we come in?
Why, yes.
Thank you.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you, ma'am.
Is George Landon at home now?
No, he isn't, but I think he'll be home soon. He never stays out late. He isn't in any trouble, is he?
Do you know where he is?
With his friends, I suppose. He's a popular boy. He really should be home soon.
Where's he been, Miss Landon?
I don't know. He goes out at night, you know, with his friends.
Who are they?
Well, I really don't know. You see, it's difficult to keep track of a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big boy, and he's full of vitality. He has to find things to do.
Yes, ma'am.
He lives here with me. I'm his aunt. I'm not married, so I take care of him. His parents died when he was a baby.
I see. Does George work, or does he go to school?
Oh, he's finished school. You aren't here about that automobile that was stolen a year ago, are you?
No, ma'am.
Oh, he had some trouble then, but I'm sure he didn't do it. Since then, he's been very good. He hasn't missed a day's work, and he goes to church with me any time I ask him.
Where does he spend his evenings, do you know?
Well, I told you, with his friends. A young man has to use up his energy. I don't try to hold him too tightly. Good boy like him.
Can we look at his room?
Oh, yes. Yes, it's right here.
All right.
I'll show you how neat he keeps it. Oh, there. Isn't that nice?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not trying to defend him. I'm only telling you about him. He keeps this room cleaned up himself. He smokes a little, but I've never smelled a drop of liquor on his breath. He's a very good boy.
Yes, ma'am.
He even reads a lot. You can see his books over here.
Yes, ma'am. You mind if we look around a little?
No, that's all right. Should be home soon. He's probably at a movie. Do you want to wait for him?
No, that won't be necessary.
He's always home by midnight. I'll tell him you were here. Oh, that must be George now. George!
Yeah?
These men would like to talk to you. They're police officers.
All right, take it easy, young fella.
Oh, let go. Hold him. Turn him around.
Yep.
Stand still, young fella. No, it's no good.
What do you guys think you're doing? I didn't do anything. I was just out for a ride.
This your nephew?
Yes.
Coat's torn, Joe. Pocket ripped off.
Is this your driver's license here, George?
Yeah. I lost it.
When?
Last week.
It was found tonight.
So what?
How'd you tear your coat?
Getting out of the car the other night.
Here's a piece of cloth. The girl who was attacked tonight gave it to us. It matches the tear there in your coat.
What have you done, George?
Tell her.
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it any time. He talked me into it.
Who talked you into
He
it?
made me do it. He's got a gun, and he stole the cars. He made all the plans.
Who made all the plans?
Tommy. Oh, we never did anything except hang out at the drugstore until that time a year ago.
What's his last name?
He said that it'd always be held against me, and I better go along with him.
Tommy who?
Decker.
Was he with you tonight?
Yeah, he's the one that hit her when she grabbed hold of me. He's the one that always hit him. I never wanted him to do it.
Mm-hmm. Where's the stuff you took out of that purse?
Well, Tommy's going to hide it.
Where?
Back of where he works.
Where's that?
Oh, garage someplace. I don't know where. He just started working there.
Where does he live?
Place on West 6th. I never been there.
What does this Decker look like?
Well, he's the same age I am, but about an inch taller and must be 15 pounds heavier. He's got dark hair.
How's he dressed?
Just like me. Sneakers and brown slacks and a tan sport coat.
Better call the office, Ben.
Yeah. Can I use your telephone, ma'am?
Oh, it's in the hall behind the door.
Thank you.
You said Decker's got a gun?
Yeah.
Officer, will you tell me the truth?
I'll try, ma'am.
Are George and this Tommy Decker the two men the papers have been writing about?
I'm afraid so.
The ones who've been robbing the women?
Yes, ma'am.
And beating them up?
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. I didn't know what I was doing.
I raised you, George. I didn't either.
11:42 p.m. We checked into the office with the 18-year-old suspect, George Landon. While Ben and the police stenographer took down the statement, I went down to R&I and pulled a package on the other suspect, Thomas Decker. His mama sheet showed a petition had been filed on 459 PC and 488 PC. They also showed 3 different recent addresses for Decker. One on West 6th Street, one on South Mariposa, and a third on North Catalina. 2 units were dispatched to the first 2 addresses. Ben and I went to the address on North Catalina, a rooming house. We learned from Decker's landlady that he was working as an apprentice mechanic on the swing shift at a large garage on South Flower Street. 12:51 a.m., Ben and I arrived at the garage.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah?
Police officer. Does Thomas Decker work here?
Yeah, he works here. Hey, Decker! Hey, Decker! Yeah? I'm the guy here to see you. There he is back there.
Thank you.
What do you want?
You Thomas Decker?
Yeah?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Watch it, Joe. Come on. Hey, he's going in the locker room. All right. That's locked. Come on, hit it. Yo. Don't go.
Hey, you! You over there! Any other way out of this locker room?
Yeah, down the hall in the annex.
Come on, Ben.
All right.
Here we are.
Watch it. Came from behind that car. Back by the door.
All right, cover me.
All right, Ben, give it back to him.
Don't shoot, don't. I give up.
Throw your gun out. Throw it out.
Here it is. Don't shoot.
All right, now come on out. Hands behind your head. I'll get the gun. All right, you turn around. Lousy. Watch it, Joe. Watch it. Hey, he's getting away.
Head him off downstairs.
No. There he goes. Head him off. Let it go. Let it go. All right.
All right, get the cuffs on him, Ben.
Yeah. 18 years old. What's it prove?
I don't know. Sometimes you kind of wonder if it's true.
What's that?
There's no such thing as a bad boy.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On November 1st, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 82, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Thomas Decker and George Landon were tried and convicted on 5 counts of grand theft person, 5 counts of grand theft auto, and 5 counts of assault with intent to do great bodily harm. They were sentenced to the state penitentiary for a term as prescribed by law and are now serving their sentence.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chief of Police W.A. Wharton speaking from his office in City Hall, Los Angeles, California.
As Chief of Police of the City of Los Angeles, I wish to extend my heartiest congratulations to the program Dragnet on the occasion of its first anniversary. The overwhelming success of this program, as indicated by the hundreds of commendatory letters, telegrams, and personal comments, I feel has been due to the splendid job of portraying police officers and their work. The American public, by its enthusiastic acceptance of Dragnet, has indicated a desire for factual police programs. The Los Angeles Police Department is proud to contribute to the constructive entertainment of both adults and children through this medium. May I extend my best wishes to the National Broadcasting Company, the sponsor, the actors, the writer, and the producer of Dragnet. And I trust there will be many more years of continued success for this program.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, a great new show, Sarah's Private Caper on NBC.
This is the Jack Webb Show. Oh, yes. Time. Time. Oh, my darling, have you ever stopped to think what Wednesday night at 9:30 means? Oh, my darling, Wednesday night at 9:30 means Wednesday night at 9:30. Ah, my darling, if we were on a windswept hill, if we could but go there, if we could but be there, alone, just you and I and that windswept hill. Just the three of us. Just you. Just I. Just that windswept hill. The three of us, that is. I could but whisper but these three immortal words in your ear, words as old as time. 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 These three words would I but whisper. The Jack Webb Show.
There's too darn many strings on this thing.
This week, Mayor Lapham announced that the fight was still on to raise streetcar fares, but the Jack Webb Show sinks lower and lower. Yes, the Jack Webb Show, or Lost Wednesday. That means Phil Bavero and those 8 retards known as the Ragged Clancy Hayes, who brought music to the marina, will sing the words whether they match the music or not. Tiny Nora McNamara, pretty as a picture, will be framed by the orchestra again this week. John Galbraith, a rare Oakland importation, will prove that anyone can be a radio actor. Due to an increase in our program budget, the above people and things will be assisted in tonight's production by an all-star cast of thousands. And if you hurry, you have just time to catch the second show at your neighborhood movie. You're tuned to Facts on Parade.
Yes, here's the program all Africa has been raving about. It's Facts on Parade. The only program devoting its entire time to bringing you the unusual, the bizarre, the little known, and that's a fact. This is the program that has everyone saying,
Why, I knew that all the time.
yes, many college students have used this program instead of their books to graduate, and that's a fact. And now here's the man who says that's a fact. For fact-loving people everywhere, Fred Fact.
Thank you, Fred Flooper, and good evening. And that's a fact. Here's a curious item that comes to us from Fredville, Florida, sent in by Fred Fudge. And that's a fact. Fred Fudge offers this observation. If the uniforms of all the privates in the Army were laid end to end, they would most certainly reach. That's a fact.
Our next item comes from Fredtown, Scotland, submitted by Mrs. Fred Fink.
This one is very strange. She says, and I'm not quite sure this is even a fact, robbing Peter to pay Paul is not much better than robbing Paul to pay Peter. And that's a fact.
And this one wins the Fred Fact Find Finders of Fact Award. It is submitted by Fred Fang, who lives in Fred Valley, Minnesota.
Fred Fang makes this quaint observation. He says that on this program, we seem to show partiality to the name Fred. And that's a Fred. I mean a fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, this material has been approved by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We wish to thank the Federal Bureau of Investigation for this material, which they assure us is material.
Is it Dick Tracy?
No.
Is it Sherlock Holmes?
No.
Is it Mr. North?
No.
Is it Mrs. North?
No.
Is it the thin man?
No.
The fat man?
No.
The saint?
No.
The whisperer?
No.
The frog? The bat? The green hornet? The spider? The dog? The cat? The mouse?
No.
It's the razor. He's sharp. Another conspicuous first for radio. The True Adventures of the Razor. Tonight's story, another close shave for the razor. Entitled The Case of the Confused Keyhole. The Razor is brought to you each week at this time by, well, the Razor is no cheap commercial detective. He's sustaining. Leave us look in on the Razor, sitting in his study, thinking.
3 hours and I haven't had a case. This inactivity is maddening. I'm in a rut. I might as well admit it. As a last resort, I may telephone my sweetheart, Peaches Latoul. Too late now. I have a murder on my hands. Hello, this is the Razor. Who's been murdered? No murder? Oh, you have the wrong number. What? Who? Bufano? Benny Bufano? The press club cat has been stolen? What? What? No, don't touch a thing. This looks serious. You know, Bufano, I suspect the arch enemy of the Razor, Stan Strop. I'll go to work on him right away. The press club cat stolen. Being held for ransom. I wonder why. Those poor reporters haven't any money. I'll bet there's a half dozen murders before I get to the bottom of this. I'm off for the press club. Peaches Latoul. What are you doing at the press club? This is gang dinner night.
What do you mean, press club? You're on the opposite side of town. You're at my house.
You sure?
Yeah. You've driven all the way across town backwards.
Must have been that Saratan I put in the gas tank. Well, I'm off for the press club.
Razor, darling, you seem to be in a lather.
Well, I am. This case has got me stumped. Who stole that cat and why?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Oh.
Wait.
Yes?
I think I hear a murder out in the hall.
Oh, Razor, you're on edge.
Yes, perhaps I am. There, did you hear the shot?
That was the phone bell.
Oh. This is the Razor. Who? Dick Powell? Oh. Well, just fine, thank you. And you? That's fine. Well, I can't be three places at once. How should I know who sapped you? Peaches, I have a plan.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes, isn't it? Peaches? What'd you say?
Nothing. That was the phone bell.
Oh. This is the Razor. What? Who? Humane Society. Every one, you say? What? No, don't touch a thing. This looks serious. You know, Humane Society, I suspect the arch enemy of the Razor, Stan Strop. I'll go to work on him right away. Peaches, you're not going to believe this. That press club cat was only the beginning. Every cat in town has been stolen. Peaches, I've made a list of all the suspects. Round them up and take them down to the San Francisco Opera House. That should hold them all. I'll meet you there in 1 hour, if I don't run into a murder.
They're all here, Razor. 4,000 suspects.
This ought to be easy. Somebody will betray himself with a guilty expression.
We've been here 4 days now.
Yeah. The suspects have thinned out to a mere 3,000. Peaches, I'm on the verge of cracking this case.
We've been here 3 weeks now.
Yes? and I've thinned the suspects down to a scant 1,000. Peaches, this fellow's playing hard to get.
There he goes, Razor, the last suspect.
Yes, and not one of them had a guilty expression. Peaches, this whole thing has been a dismal failure. We're on the wrong track. The Razor admits. He's failed.
Oh, let's go home.
Right. Look out, Peaches! Did they slice you, Peaches?
No, I'm all right.
You know, Peaches, I'm not sure, but I think the men in that car were trying to kill me. I suspect the arch enemy of the Razor stands Strop. I'll go to work on him right away.
Scrape the sky, Razor. I've got you covered.
Egad! Trapped by the notorious Phil Furs.
We interrupt this Adventures of the Razor to bring you a brief message. The Razor is no cheap commercial detective. No one can sponsor the Razor. And now, back to the Razor.
I've got you covered now, Phil Furs.
That happened awfully fast.
Yes, didn't it?
Razor, look. That dog is growling at Phil Furs.
Yes, Peaches. Phil Furs, I arrest you for the theft of the Press Club cat and every other cat in town.
Razor, are you sure?
But, of course, I should have known it all along. That dog was growling not at Phil Furs, but at the sweater he's wearing.
The sweater Phil Furs is wearing.
You're too late, Razor.
Egad, think of it, Peaches. Phil Furs has skinned every cat in town.
But why did he steal the Press Club cat?
Simple, Peaches. That was done to confuse me. How silly. Yes, Phil Furs, I arrest you for engaging in the illegal practice of the manufacture and the sale of cashmere sweaters.
Back home again in Indiana. It just seems that I can see that same old candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. And that new mown hay sends out its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. And when I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I'm longing for my Indiana home. Back home again in Indiana. It just seems that I can see that same old candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. And that new mown hay sends out its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. And when I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I'm longing for my Indiana home.
It's contest time on the Jack Webb Show.
Yes, this is that attractive gift offer you've been all waiting for.
Say, Webb, we'd better pitch it straight.
Okay, John, I guess we have. Tell them what we'd like, will you?
Okay, gang, we got a ginger peachy prize just waiting for the person who writes the best letter or postcard on the subject, how to get the Jack Webb Show off the air. Executives of the American Broadcasting Company are not eligible to enter this contest.
That's right. Folks, John's not fooling. We really would like to get your letters and cards. And the subject once more, John boy?
All right, but most of them probably have their letter written already. The subject is how to get the Jack Webb Show off the air. All letters must be postmarked not later than Sunday midnight, April 14th.
Just address your letters and cards to the Jack Webb Show, American Broadcasting Company, San Francisco, Zone C.
Honest, you'll like the prize. We can barely afford to give it away. Sad people everywhere. This is your program.
Yes, sad ones. This is the Misery Hour,
Presented each week at this same sad time by the makers of Phil DeMille's pills. Is your head splitting with NIAP? Oh, that miserable NIAP feeling. Each of us has it at one time or another. No use trying to fight NIAP, for NIAP fights back. The only way to rid yourself of NIAP is to have your head removed, which is, of course, unless you have plenty of money, is not practical these days. Fight NIAP with Phil DeMille's pills, a harmless little stimulant that contains small amounts of opium, heroin, marijuana, and cyanide. Before the various stages of NIAP set in, head NIAP, back NIAP, foot NIAP, and ear NIAP, fight NIAP effectively with Phil DeMille's pills. NIAP spelled backward is pain. And now your host for the evening and conductor of the Misery Hour, Bill Ball.
Thank you, Terry Tier. Well, friends, before tonight's interviews begin, I am happy to report that Gladys Glue, you remember Gladys? She had on the pink formal and the big green picture hat. Lovely child. Well, Gladys Glue has decided to stick it out. She will divorce those first two husbands and stay married to the third. No applause, please. I'm sure that all of you will recall that charming little French chap, Dale Duet, the little two-headed boy. Well, I'm happy to report that little Dale has solved his problem. The public library has granted him 2 cards, and now he can have a book for each head. No applause, please. And now the case of Mrs. P.G. McMee of Mill Pieces. Oh, me, Mrs. McMee. You're all going to pieces. Pull yourself together now. Now, what is your problem?
Oh, I feel miserable, Mr. Ball.
We all do on this program, my dear.
Well, Mr. Ball, I don't know whether you would consider this a problem or not.
Well, tell it, my dear, and we'll see.
Well, I married my husband, Melvin McNee, and I never really did get along with his grandfather because the old man said that I had a face like his sister's cousin who was a gangster because he was given a good beating by her brother-in-law, who later turned out to be the husband of a very wealthy oil woman from Oklahoma, who never suspected her father of having anything to do with the Nazis because as far back as the 3 boys could remember, their mother was mean to them and never allowed their younger sister any of the privileges that Flossie had, which caused the uncle great concern because he had been on the lookout for her mother's brother ever since the last war and was determined that no matter what happened, he would not forgive them. So they are after me time and time again for an answer, and I still have my ambitions. Well, Mr. Ball, my problem is, should I?
Would you mind repeating that, please? Better still, let's have the next case.
Good evening, Mr. Ball. My name is Hobart Heap, and I live in Sausalito. And I have a problem.
Yes, go right ahead. Don't be nervous.
Thank you, Mr. Sausalito. My name is Ball Heap, and I live in Hobart.
Now, please, don't be nervous.
Yes. Well, my name is Hobart Sausalito, and I live in a heap.
Now. You're all unstrung. I believe your name, didn't you say your name was Sausahipo, and you live in Ball Bartow?
Well, I have a problem. I am a gambler, and I do the same thing all gamblers do. I gamble.
I started gambling pennies at first, and then the grocery money, and then I gambled all my wife's savings away. Our car, our home, all gone. All gone now.
And what does your wife think about all this?
I don't know. She left me yesterday. This morning she came back for the children and the washing machine, but I'd gambled the washing machine away.
I see. Well, about all you have left is your home, isn't it?
No, that went this afternoon. Just 2 hours after I lost my job. Life's just about over for me, Mr. Ball. Gambling has been my undoing.
I see. And your problem?
Mr. Ball?
Yes?
I'd like to know who looks good to you in the 4th at Bay Meadows.
Half-track surplus salesman.
This week, as it must to all men, Army Day came to the infantrymen. In San Francisco, the 2nd Division paraded up Market Street.
What about surplus?
In New York, the Rainbow Division paraded up Broadway.
What about surplus?
Yes, in Washington, Army bigwigs were faced with the perplexing question of surplus. Where is it?
Thus, this Army Day, people all over America were asking the question, what about surplus? Who's buying it, or can they? To bring an end to these questions, a page torn from the private files of Hal Halftrack, surplus salesman.
How Oh, you bet, madam. Why, that 16-inch shell will make a beautiful ashtray.
Well, are you sure it won't go off?
Oh, positively. Why, madam, our detonator experts have gone over that shell from stem to stern. It's as safe as a baby's rattle. Yes, you'll certainly surprise your husband with this ashtray.
All right, I'll take it. Here you are.
Fine. You won't regret this buy, madam. No, sir, you won't regret it. Over there. Goodbye. Over there. Well, it'll still make a good ashtray.
Good afternoon. Are you Hal Halftrack?
Right the first time. Hal Halftrack, and I'm dealing in Army surplus.
Fine. Then you're just the man I want to see. I've just come from the draft
board. Too bad, too bad. Almost got drafted myself once. Going in the Army, eh? Well, you've come to the right place. You have a decided advantage over the boys who went in early. You're going into the Army equipped.
Yes, but Mr. Halftrack...
Don't say another word. I'm going to outfit you, son. From top to bottom, you're going to be wired for sound.
But Halftrack...
If you don't quit interrupting me, fella, I'll send you right into the Army just like you are. Now, you'll need... Tell me, fella, what branch of the service do you think you're going into? Well, it really doesn't matter. First off, you're going to need a few uniforms, about 12 dozen of each. Paratroopers, cavalry, mechanized infantry, and air corps. That's in case you're transferred.
But,
You were about to say, what if you're promoted? Well, I thought of that too, fella. I'm throwing in officers' uniforms for each of the branches, 12 dozen each.
I think you're making a mistake.
Yes, you thought I was leaving out your means of transportation. Well, you're wrong. I'm putting in a fleet of jeeps on your list and a staff car in case you're appointed to the higher echelon.
Halftrack.
Halftrack. I'm glad to see you're taking an interest in this. After all, it's for your benefit, not mine. Yes, indeed, you will need a half-track. Ours haven't been working too well lately, so I'm going to include 3 in your order.
But...
That's a good question. What if you don't stay in the ground forces? What if you fly? Well, we're all out of B-29s, but I can let you have 4 B-17s.
But...
All right. You can have 6. I'll stretch a point.
You don't seem to understand.
Oh, yes. You're worried about that fighter protection up there. Well, I'm including a dozen each. 1 dozen P-38s, 1 dozen P-40s, 1 dozen P-51s, and, if you're lucky, I may throw in a half dozen of the new jets.
Half-track.
You've already got one of those on your list, fella. Now, there's only one more thing I can think of. Let me see it. Chemical warfare, yes? You'll need a full supply of all the poisonous gases, plus a sniff kit so you won't poison yourself. And I happen to have 1 carload. 1 carload of the late gas mask.
But...
Oh, you'll need every one of them. You'll meet a lot of friends in the Army. You know, I can't see why all the rest of the folks who come in here can't use the war surplus items I've sold you. They're all handy. Now, what have you got to say to that?
Only this. I'm the clerk of your draft board, and for some reason you were overlooked in the early call. You're going into the Army equipped. You've just been drafted.
Well, tonight's egg was laid on the vocal side by Clancy Hayes and Nora McNamara. John Galbraith and Ethel Sterling blew the lines. Phil Bavaro and his ragged airs with the music. Dick Green glued the joints together. This is Jack Webb saying good night, gang. Hey, don't forget us again next week about 9:30. Don't forget your letters and cards, will you?
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
To hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. The owner of a fur store has been shot and killed. Your only lead, a missing fur coat. The killer is at large. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, November 23rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. Our partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Blaine Steed, captain of homicide. My name's Friday. It was 6:35 p.m. and we got to the corner of Western and Lexington. The Western Fur Shop.
Hi, Brennan.
Hi. What happened, Frank?
The owner's been shot. His name's Albert Kreiber.
Yeah?
Who is that? Mrs. Kreiber. Haven't been able to get anything out of her.
Where's the body?
In the back. Munkers is back there.
Did you call the lab?
Yeah. Jones on his way. Photographer and fingerprint men with him.
All right, let's take a look.
Nothing seems to be messed up.
Back room is.
It was a small shop. A couple of fur coats on dummies on one side of the store, and on the other, a tall glass case holding about 15 more. Mrs. Kreiber sat on a straight-back chair staring at the floor. We went through the curtains into the back room of the store. Sprawled out on the floor at the far end of the room was the body of a man. He had a fur coat gripped in one hand. Sergeant Moncrief from Hollywood Division was standing by.
What do you figure, Monk? Looks like a couple of hours.
Did you call the coroner?
Yeah.
How long you been here, Monk?
Just a couple of minutes.
You think Mrs. Kreiber moved anything here?
I don't think so. She was sitting in that chair when we got here. I don't think she's moved except to call in.
Did she put in the call?
Yeah. Empty shells on the floor.
You got a pencil?
Yeah.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah. You think robbery?
I don't know. Let's talk to the wife.
Wait a minute. Bottle here.
Yeah, Sierra Valley Wine Company. World's finest muscatel.
27 cents a pint.
Nobody touched this, did they?
No, I've been here. No.
Okay, let's get out front.
Anything in the customer files running?
Not so far.
Have you tried to talk to Miss Kreiber again?
No, pretty bad.
Let's give it a try. Miss Kreiber? I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Sergeant Romero. We'd like to talk to you if we could. We know how you must feel, but there are a few questions that we have to ask you. Did you telephone the police?
We have to know how it happened, Miss Kreiber.
Miss Kreiber? Can you tell us what happened?
Who is it? What do you want?
We're police officers.
Oh, Albert. Albert's dead. Albert! Albert! Someone call the police?
Miss Kreiber, we are the police.
My husband's been murdered. He's dead.
We better leave her.
Friday. Here's something I found in the customer file.
Miss Terry Shepard, 10113 Normandy, apartment 3. What about it?
She took her coat out that was in storage. Took it out today.
Well, we'll check her out when we're finished here. Thanks.
Looks like the only hot receipt in the file.
Hi, Lee.
Joe, yeah?
In the back room.
What is it?
Killing. Moncrief will show you.
Okay. That's all.
Think we ought to try the wife again?
We can try. Miss Kreiber, can we do anything for you?
Oh, I'm a little better. I'll try to tell you what I can.
All right. When did you get here?
It must have been about 6 o'clock, a few minutes after. I came to take him home.
Any customers around?
No, the store was empty. I stood here for a few minutes waiting, and then I went in the back and...
Yes, was the front door open?
No. Yes, the front door?
Yes, ma'am, the front.
Yes, open.
Did you telephone the police?
I think I did.
Did you come here to pick him up?
No. No, usually he drives home himself. I came down on the streetcar to ride home with him.
What kind of a car do you have?
An Oldsmobile. 1939 or 40, I guess it is.
Where does he usually park?
In the rear of the store. There's a little place back.
I'll take a look. All right. Where is your home?
3412 Northwestern. I thought there was something wrong when I got a telegram from him. He said not to come down tonight. He said he'd be home late.
What time was that?
At 4 o'clock. Oh, I'm all mixed up. I haven't told it to you as I remember it. First I telephoned here to the shop.
That was this afternoon?
Yes, 3:30. I'm sure of that because I made some other calls. I spoke to Albert. He didn't say he was going to be late. Then at 4 o'clock, I received the telegram.
Do you have that with you?
Yes, it's in my purse somewhere. Somewhere. Oh, here it is.
Thank you. Don't come down. I won't be home until late after see a customer, Albert. Can I keep this? We'll return it to you.
Yes.
What'd you do after you got this wire, Miss Kreiber?
Well, nothing. I thought it was strange, but I didn't think too much about it. Then I started wondering why he didn't say anything over the telephone about being late, so I came down here on the streetcar.
Did you phone the store just before you left your house?
Yes, but there was no answer.
Parking lot's empty.
Better get out an APB on the car, huh?
Miss Kreiber, you said your car was a 1939 or 40 Oldsmobile, didn't you?
1940. I remember now.
What model is that?
It was sedan, light blue.
Do you remember the license number?
Well, I have it on this chain with the extra keys. Here it is, on this little tag. The veterans make these.
Thank you.
Joe, can I see him now?
Sure. Excuse me, Miss Kreiber.
Do you want me to wait? I'd like to go home.
We'd like you to wait for a little while, yes. Do you have any relatives living here?
A niece and a nephew in Beverly Hills. Jerome Reed. They live on Cannon Drive.
All right, we'll call them for you.
Thank you.
Lee, is this phone out here all right to handle?
Yeah, it's been dusted.
Okay.
Joe, you coming in?
Yeah, right away.
It's pretty clear, easy to trace.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he was standing over here by the curtains when he was shot. That's where the stains begin.
Mm-hmm.
And he must have stumbled along this glass case. You can see the smears here in the glass where he tried to grab hold of something.
Yeah.
And I guess he caught hold of that fur coat and pulled it down with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he stumbled and bumped up against this coat rack, fell through that and up against the safe.
How many times was he hit?
6 empty casings on the floor. Looks like 4 through-and-through wounds.
32, huh?
That's right. The wife know if anything's missing?
Yeah, she's in pretty bad shape.
It looks to me like somebody took his wristwatch and a ring from his left hand. If he had a billfold, that's gone. No coat. All the trouser pockets are turned inside out.
And what about that wine bottle?
It's smeared. Can't lift a thing.
Okay, thanks. Ben?
I'm still on the phone.
Okay.
No. License 15 Boston. 6707. No, 707. Yeah. Driver might be on. Hang on a minute, Wallace. What? Now, give that DMV, will you? Save another call.
Miss Kreiber, did your husband have a wallet?
Yes, brown alligator.
Did he keep his identification in it?
Yes.
Did he carry much cash?
No, just a few dollars. He was always afraid of holdups.
Thank you. You want to give that to him, Ben?
Yeah, okay. Hey, Wallace, suspect might have a brown alligator wallet with identification cards of Albert Kreiber. Yeah, that's C-R-I-B, Boston, B, Boston, E-R. 3412 Northwestern Avenue. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Buck.
Joe?
Match something here.
Yeah, Monk?
Invoice from the Far North Fur Company. 3 mink coats delivered here today. I looked all around. I only found 2, 1 missing.
Did you find a sales slip for the other one?
No.
Miss Schreiber, would you come over here, please?
Yes.
Where are they, Monk?
Over here.
All right. Over this way. Well, these are mink coats here, aren't they?
Yes. It's wild mink. Albert told me he ordered them.
Yes, ma'am. We found the invoice.
He ordered 3. There are only 2 here.
Do you know anything about any of his customers?
No, I don't. I never met any of them. Oh, I remember now. Just the night before last, he called someone from home. Told her he'd have some minks in today and she could come in and look them over.
Do you know who that was?
I didn't hear any name.
Miss Schreiber, do you have any idea who might have wanted to shoot your husband?
No, none at all. He was friendly with everyone. Everybody liked Albert. He didn't run around. He was either working or at home.
Did he drink?
Not at all.
No, I mean beer, a little wine maybe?
No, he never touched anything.
All right, thank you. Brennan, will you see that Miss Schreiber gets to her nephews?
Right away.
Thank you. Might as well go, Ben.
Yeah.
We can talk to some of the neighbors.
6 shots fired. Wonder why nobody heard him.
Pretty heavy traffic outside, huh?
Somebody wanted a mink coat pretty bad. A coat like that costs quite a bit, doesn't it?
This one's going to come a little high, yeah. 7:05 p.m. Most of the stores along the street were closed, but a small shoe repair shop across the street was open, so we went over there. On the window was one word, Pete, and a picture of a shoe. Sitting in the window was a small, dark man wearing a leather apron. He was working on a pair of shoes.
Hello.
We're police officers.
I see you drive up across the street.
Are you Pete?
Sure. What happens to Mr. Kreiber? He's robbed?
No, he was killed.
No. Shot? I do not hear anything.
Have you been sitting in your window all afternoon?
Oh, most all the time. You see, I have machinery here. I advertise that way. People watch me.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember seeing anybody going into Mr. Kreiber's this afternoon?
This afternoon, the 4-man. 2, 3 long black cars.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else?
Some.
Were they women?
Officer, they are all women.
I see. Did any of them walk out with a new fur coat?
They're all done. I do not see all of them, I guess, but I see 2.
Can you describe them?
One beautiful young girl, tall, red hair. She walked out with a big package.
What time was that?
3, 4 o'clock. The second woman is about the same time. Funny thing. I do not see the bottle, but Benny from liquor store on corner tell me the second one, the blonde. She buys bottle wine.
Did he tell you what kind?
No. Reason I remember, I laugh when he tell me. I go over to Benny's for a can of beer. He tells me she buys cheap wine, walks out of Kreiber's with new fur coat. Me, I spend $5 for good wine, and my wife has no fur coat.
How old was this blonde? How was she dressed?
She's maybe 25. Young, not too young, but young. She has on slacks, gray.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a fur coat was she wearing when she came out?
Mink. Look from here like mink.
I see. Did you notice where she went?
The blonde, the gray slacks, mink coat. Yes, it turned the corner onto Lexington and she went up the street.
Did you see Mr. Kreiber's car drive away?
No, he parked in back. I don't see him come in. I don't see him come out.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pete.
Mm-hmm. Officer, that blonde, something wrong there.
How do you mean?
Well, she has got fur coat, but she drinks wrong wine. I don't understand.
Why do you say that?
$5,000 coat, 27-cent wine.
7:45 p.m. Ben and I questioned Benny Davis at the Safety Liquor Store. He remembered the blonde and said she bought a bottle of Sierra Valley Muscatel from him between 2:30 and 3 o'clock that afternoon. He'd never seen her before. We contacted communications and gave a description of the blonde to supplement the All Points Bulletin. Then we started checking Western Union offices to find out where Mrs. Kreiber's telegram had been sent from. We finally traced it to the office at Normandy and Hollywood Boulevard. The operator who sent the telegram to Mrs. Kreiber also remembered receiving the call. She told us that the person who phoned in the message was a woman. The time, 3:22 p.m. We asked her to put a tracer on it and told her we'd check back. 8:24 p.m. Ben and I went to 10113 Normandy to talk to Miss Terry Shepard, whose name had appeared in the customer files at the first store. The receipt showed she'd taken a coat out of storage that afternoon.
This is something like the place the wife and I used to live in.
Yeah?
Same people must have built it. Apartment 3. Miss Terry Shepard.
All right, come in. The door's open. Find yourself a seat, Fred. I'll be in a minute.
Police officers, Miss Shepard.
Oh? What's wrong?
We'd like to talk to you.
What about?
What if you could come out here, please?
Well, I just got out of the shower. You'll have to wait a minute.
Yeah? Yeah, this place has got the same floor plan as mine.
Kind of small, isn't it?
Not too bad. Wonder what rent she pays.
You don't mind if I wait a tubing, do you? My hair's wet.
It's all right. We're sorry to bother you.
What can I do for you?
You got a fur coat, Miss Shepard?
Yeah, sure.
What if we could see it, please?
Sure, but I don't think it'll trouble you. It's only muskrat. I bought it in Pittsburgh.
Where is it, in the clothing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's down the hallway, first door on the right.
I think I know where it is.
What's this all about, Lieutenant?
What time were you at the Western Fur Shop today?
Oh, I'd say 3 o'clock. Why?
What'd you do while you were down there?
I got my coat out of hock. I had it there during the warm weather. Paid the man, signed something, and he put the coat in a box, and I took it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Mr. Kreiber down there, the man that owns the store?
You got me. The man was about 50. His hair was a little gray. I hardly even looked at him.
This is the only fur coat, Joe.
Could have passed for mink when I first bought it. It's pretty sad now, isn't it?
Not mink. I'll give that closet a last check.
All right.
What happened? Did somebody steal a coat?
Was anybody else in the store while you were there?
Yeah. Yeah, there was another girl there.
What was she doing?
Nothing, just sitting.
Do you remember how she was dressed?
She was wearing a gray suit. Slacks. Blonde. Her face wasn't much, but she had a neat little figure.
Do you remember anything else about her?
Well, I didn't pay that much attention.
Anything else in there, Ben?
Not a thing, Joe.
Maybe I'd better take this towel off my head. It doesn't look so hot when it's wet, but it's natural. It's natural red.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you might be able to tell us?
I think that's about all. I gave the man my claim check and the money. And he got the coat and put it in a box and gave me a receipt.
Mm-hmm. Nothing else?
No. No, when I got the receipt, I saw the blonde walk over and pick up the telephone. I was just leaving then.
Did you hear any of the conversation?
She asked for Western Union.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Edith Gwynn, well-known Los Angeles columnist. This is her actual signed statement.
It's my job to keep up with what's going on around town. And here's one thing I've noticed lately. More and more people smoking Fatima. You certainly can tell why once you smoke them. I found them milder than any other king-size cigarette, and that's important to me. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Sunday, November 24th, 9 a.m. Ben and I contacted the owners of all the shops in the vicinity, but none of them saw or heard anything at the time of the shooting. Officers Brennan and Moncrief interviewed all the regular customers of Albert Kreiber's fur shop. Only 3 had been in the store on Saturday, but none of them had noticed anything wrong. 11:35 a.m. We spoke to Mrs. Kreiber again, but she could add nothing to her story. Her niece and nephew had been to a football game at the Coliseum in the afternoon and knew nothing had happened until they were telephoned by Officer Brennan. 2:55 p.m. We spoke to all the tenants of the apartment house at 5513 Lexington, which is in the rear of the fur shop. None of them had been home, but the owner told us that he had some men working on the roof of the apartment house at the time of the murder. Through the owner of the Durable Roof Company, we traced the two men who had been working on the roof, and they told us that about 4 o'clock they had seen a blonde dressed in gray slacks enter the parking space in the rear of Kreiber's fur store. They whistled at her, but she paid no attention to them. She got into an Oldsmobile and drove east on Lexington. 7 p.m. We checked in at the office and got word that Albert Kreiber's car had been located in a parking lot at Vermont and 8th. We drove down to the location and talked to the parking lot attendant.
Well, the car must have come in sometime last night. It probably came in the back way because I don't remember it coming in, and it doesn't have our lot tag on it.
Did you work all last night?
No, I finished at midnight and started at 10 this morning. I kept waiting for somebody to claim this thing, and after supper I figured it might be stolen, so I phoned the police. It's been sitting here all that time.
Are there any keys in it?
No, sir. There weren't last night either.
Have you ever seen this particular car before?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen a blonde woman about 25 wearing gray slacks?
You mean hanging around here?
Yeah, or in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but not today or yesterday.
You remember one?
Well, yes, sir. Does she drink a lot?
Maybe.
Well, there's one that hangs out in these bars around here. Once in a while, she comes in the lot, but not lately.
When did you see her last?
Oh, a couple of weeks ago.
Was she with anyone?
Yeah, but I don't remember him. I've seen her with a lot of different guys.
Does she hang around with anybody in particular?
Yeah, her husband.
Before leaving the parking lot, we pulled the rotor out of the distributor so that nobody could drive the car away. 8:12 p.m. We called homicide and asked for more men to canvass the bars in the neighborhood. Ben and I staked out on the car. We sat in our car across the street from the parking lot until midnight. Nobody showed up to claim the car. The streets were almost empty. Our only chance was that the blonde lived in the neighborhood or was in a bar and would sooner or later try to claim the car. 1:53 a.m.
What rent do you suppose that Shepherd girl pays?
You got me.
75?
I don't know.
I bet I pay more than she does.
Is that Moncrief?
Yeah.
Hi, Monk.
Hi. Let's take a look up the street. See that couple?
Where?
Coming this way. Blonde, gray slacks, fur coat. She's pretty drunk.
Where'd you spot her?
Turned the corner from Olympic. They've been looking in parking lots.
Monk, there's a rear entrance to this lot off the alley. Do you want to cover that?
Yeah.
Thank you. You see him all right?
That's it. When they walk under that light. Yeah. Pretty drunk.
Looks like the same kind of coat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stopping.
Looking for another parking lot, I guess. Sierra Valley Wine. World's finest muscatel.
And going into the parking lot.
She's not carrying a purse.
Those coats don't have pockets big enough for a .32 automatic.
That stuff sure gets people.
All right, let's go. We're getting in Kreiber's car.
Look, you can't even find her door. She's helping us.
You take the other side of the car, will you?
Yeah.
Stop pushing me.
Who are you?
Police officers. Can I see your driver's license, please?
I got a driver's license.
What's going on?
What's your name?
Betty Moore. What's it to you?
The registration slip on the steering column says Albert Kreiber.
What's the matter with this car, anyway?
Who's Albert Kreiber?
Oh, I know who he is.
This guy here.
Who is this man?
What do you say?
He's a friend. That satisfy you?
Friend.
What's the matter with this thing?
Take a look in the glove compartment, Ben.
Okay.
Come on, honey. Let's get going, huh?
Yeah. It's locked.
What do you want in there for?
Let me have those keys.
Hey,
Here you are, Ben.
How about going home?
there's nothing in there.
Let's go.
Here's a purse.
Give me that.
You keep your hands on the wheel.
It's a gun, 32.
It's his. It's empty anyway.
What do they want?
Nothing wrong in that.
Do you have a permit to carry it?
Yeah, I got a permit.
Can I see it?
I lost it. Give me those
You
keys.
keep your hands on that wheel.
Here's a wallet, identification cards, Albert Kreiber.
Where'd you get these?
I don't know.
The man's watch, Albert Kreiber engraved on the back.
Who's Albert
I
Kreiber?
don't know, I told you.
All right, let's get out of the car.
Hey, let's push it.
Why didn't that car start?
All right, come on. Stand up. You get over there.
Where'd you get the fur coat?
I bought it.
Where?
I don't know.
Joe, look at her slacks.
Wine stains. I spilled wine on them.
What kind of wine?
Muscatel.
Muscatel isn't a red wine, it's a white wine.
Who's Albert Kreiber?
I don't know.
This is his wallet. This is his car. Where'd you get him?
I don't know. I don't know.
This the gun you shot him with? This the gun you shot him with?
I was going out with him. He said he'd give me a fur coat. He promised me a watch, and he never gave me one. And then we sent a telegram to his wife and everything. He'd give me a fur coat and take me out. He backed out of me.
So you shot him?
Sure I did. He promised me the coat. He said I could have any coat in the shop. He promised me.
What are you crying for? You got the coat.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 27th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Betty Moore was tried and convicted of second-degree murder and received sentence as prescribed by law. She is now serving her term in the state penitentiary at Tehachapi. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, here's Sarah Berner in Sarah's Private Keeper on NBC.
I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the Pilgrim's Progress.
The Cosmopolitan Building, 7th Street near Olive, downtown L.A. A mess of granite thrown together by an architect who must have taken his degree on the rock pile at Leavenworth. It's up on the 3rd floor, room 308, right next to a credit dentist who shares his office with a collection agency. On the other side, there's a school for models, and the Lion's got sore eyes trying to see through that cloudy glass. International Detective Bureau, Anthony J. Lyon, President. He's also Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer. I work for him. Well, the office isn't much, but there's enough elbow room for a client to write a check. I went to the office Friday night about 5:20 answering the Lion's call. He was sitting behind the desk sucking on a quarter cigar. He looked real pleased, like a fat lady locked in a cream puff factory.
Man I know had a baby.
plumber named Broman or Groman or something like that.
Mazel tov.
Cancel any arrangements you got for the night. I got something for you to do. Got your car?
It's in the lot.
Gas it up. You're taking a trip.
Where to?
Calabasas. A man wants to see you.
I got no friends out there.
Friend of mine named Hendricks. He counts his money with an adding machine, and his finger's always swollen.
What's the problem?
I don't know. He didn't say. He just called and told me to send out a man.
How much did he give you for a retainer?
When an important man like Hendricks calls, you don't insult him by asking for money.
Oh, stop it, will you? You're the kind of guy who'd steal pennies on a parking meter.
That's enough, Regan.
If one of them turned up empty, you'd sue the city.
Here's the Hendricks address. Now get out there.
All right.
Regan.
Yeah?
Remember, do a good job, and I'll give you Thanksgiving off, and I'll pay you.
With what, cranberries? Well, I headed up Beverly and then up through Hollywood. You know, it's only November, but Santa Claus is breaking out all over the boulevard. I fought my way over Cahuenga Pass, and by the time I was dodging station wagons on Ventura, it was dark. Calabasas is a place with a couple of service stations, a hot dog stand, and a few road signs full of buckshot. The Hendricks place turned out to be about 5 miles down a road that the Indians built for hauling firewater. I guess they couldn't keep the cork in. But the house itself was strictly prohibition stuff. Big pile of slate roof and leaded windows. It was dark and lonesome. I figured somebody had their holidays mixed.
Hiya, Pilgrim.
It was a big fat guy. He was holding a 6-foot gun the shape of a straightened-out tuba. He came closer, and I could see his hat. It was a high one with a buckle on it. He was dressed in black, and he had buckles all over him. I figured that I'd been eating too much Quaker Oats.
What's the matter, Pilgrim? A little shooting make you nervous?
That's a big gun there.
Shoots musket balls. Good for Indians.
Well, I'm no Indian.
Oh, I wasn't aiming at you.
Well, that gun wouldn't know the difference.
It's a blunderbuss. Great weapon.
Is it?
I'll show you. Well, you prop it up on a crutch.
You keep fooling with that thing, and we'll both need one.
Now, let's be quiet there. Load the barrel with lots of powder.
Look, why don't you give that thing back to the museum?
See, that's it. More powder. Gotta use lots of this black powder.
Buster, you need black coffee. Come on, give me that thing before it blows up in your face. You broke a window.
Oh, it's all right. It was only the attic.
You live here?
Of course not, Pilgrim. I'm Miles Standish.
Well, where's the rest of the party?
All inside, talking to John Olden.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you just think I'm kidding, don't you? Pilgrim, you just haven't got the Mayflower spirit.
No, you drank it all.
It's just cider. Nothing better on a cold New England night.
Thanksgiving's not for a week. Come on, get off it.
Hark.
What's the matter? Put that down.
I'm not going to shoot him. He's a friendly type.
Brother Regan?
Yeah?
If thou wilt follow me, please.
Oh, you too, huh?
I beg your pardon?
Okay.
Well, so long, Pilgrim.
Yeah, keep your powder dry, Standy.
I'll see you on Plymouth Rock.
Okay, this way, Brother Regan.
Now, look, Sunshine, you work here.
My name is Phelps.
Why don't you lock that guy up?
I'd be outnumbered, sir. 21, Pilgrim.
Bad winter. They make you wear those corduroy knickers?
Knee breeches, sir. It was Priscilla's idea.
You need a union.
Need more shapely legs. Through here.
Well, it's quite a place you got.
Well, it's better without the decorations, sir.
Yeah. How do you keep from stepping on these pumpkins?
It's only when they use them for bowling that it's difficult.
Come on, fill me in. What's this all about?
Thanksgiving, sir. 1621. Okay, this room here, sir. Go right in.
Okay.
Shut the door. Shut it.
Mr. Hendricks around?
He's not here. Come over, sit down.
Who are you, Priscilla?
Please don't say another word of that silly rigmarole, or I'll start screaming.
Yeah, well, I could use a little yell myself.
I'm Agnes. I'm Mrs. Hendricks. Or Agnes.
It doesn't make any difference.
Does to my friends. Didn't I say sit down?
Yes, you did, and I didn't. So you don't like the party, huh?
I'm not much of a Puritan, Mr. Regan.
Well, that Great Dane says the masquerade was your idea.
Phelps is stupid. This goes on all weekend, Mr. Regan. It's called a turkey shoot.
Yeah, so that's it. Who gets the bird?
The Pilgrim fathers, my husband's friends. They ought to be shot, every one of them.
Yeah, well, I'm not from the SPCA.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Regan. I like you.
That's not the point.
I won't bore you.
Your husband might.
Him. He's crazy, Mr. Regan. Crazy as the things he does. Shooting, drinking, spending money.
A hard life.
I don't know how I stood it for as long as I have. My lawyer says I'm the most patient woman in the world.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the conversation, Miss Hendricks.
Why did my husband send for you?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You do know. Tell me.
I don't know.
Please. You don't realize what kind of a man my husband can be.
I never met him.
You don't know how much I need help. How lonely I am.
Well, where is he?
Tell you if you promise to come back to me.
No, I'll write you a letter.
He's out in the shed, other side of the patio.
Thanks.
I wouldn't act this way if I weren't so frightened. You don't know what it is to be frightened all the time.
No, but I'm learning.
I wish you'd stick around, Mr. Regan.
Well, thanks, Miss Hendricks, but the pin feathers are a little sharp. Miss Hendricks went back to her worrying, and I wound my way through the house looking for the back entrance. My legs got tired before it finally showed on the other side of the pantry. It poured out into a flagstone patio as big as a palladium. A walk took me to a shed. It was a two-story redwood place that must have made a loud noise on the cash register, and alongside, fenced in with chicken wire, was a whole population of turkeys. Well, I went into the shed. A little round-faced guy with pink skin was leaning over a barrel of cider. He wore a blue silk smoking jacket with gold initials EH on the pocket. When he caught my footsteps, his head bobbed up, and he gave me a deep look like he was trying to see the back of my eyeball.
Yes?
I'm Regan, International Detective Bureau.
Oh, I've been expecting you. I'm Hendricks.
Yeah, I know. Why the fireworks?
Huh? Oh. Miles Standish. Just having fun. It's a party, you know. Big party we're having.
Yeah, well, the neighbors will complain.
Ah, neighbors. None for miles around. That's why I like it out here. Have trouble finding me?
You ought to put up signs.
Signs? Glasses of cider, Regan? Carefully. Glass.
I'm not thirsty.
Yeah. That's not what it's for. Strong kind. Oh, go on. Thanksgiving soon. Get the spirit.
No, I can hold out till Thursday.
Suit yourself. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, it's going to be quite a party here, you know.
Your wife's got a different version.
Oh, you spoke to her?
Yeah.
You were told to come out here to see me?
I got sidetracked.
It's not good for a man in your position.
All right, Hendricks, why am I here?
What'd she say to you?
I forgot.
Regan, you're making me angry.
Now, look, mister, you didn't get me out here to make a pilgrim out of me.
Right. No, of course not. Fine woman, Mrs. Hendricks. We've been married for years, you know, happily. Fine little woman. Still, she makes me a little nervous at times.
You like the sound of guns going off?
She shouldn't get so excited. Boys just having little fun. It's only once a year. What's wrong with that?
Come on, now, what's the job?
Didn't the line tell you?
He said you would.
Oh, well. Nothing to be so mysterious about. I've just got a package I want you to take to them. Here it is. A turkey.
You got me all the way out here to play escort to that bird?
Well, I just want to be friendly. Here. Now, go on. It's a long way back to L.A., and you want to be there for Thanksgiving.
What's the difference? I got the turkey. I can celebrate any time. 60 miles to do a delivery job, bird. Well, I wandered back to my car, and I listened to the crickets and the gunshots try to outdo each other. And then I dumped the turkey into the back seat, and I started the car down the drive. I just noted around the bend when the headlights caught a pair of buckled shoes and black knee breeches. Miles Standish was lying face down in the dirt, and there was a wet shine on his side. He was breathing hard. Blunderbuss was lying beside him, and I figured that he blew out the wrong end. I would have gone for the Hendricks phone and the doctor, but I got a good look at the holes in him, and I headed for a hospital instead. The blunderbuss may have been kicking up a fuss, but the holes in Miles Standish were 20th century, about the size of a .32. Well, I turned him over to an emergency hospital, and I put a call into the sheriff's office. I gave the story to Lieutenant Robinson, and then I headed back toward town. At the Lyons place, the lights were still on, so I figured he didn't have company. I rapped on the door, and he flung it open before the echo could die away. He had a carving knife in one hand, and he was wearing an apron. His eyes were big, and he had an eager look like a college couple on Mulholland Drive.
Regan, you're back.
Oh, now that takes a big brain.
I've been waiting for you. You know, I had a chance to go to a classy party tonight. Russian caviar and champagne and favors to all the guests. You know why I didn't go?
You lost your crack suit, huh?
I said to myself, is it fair to go out and have a good time while my employee is working real hard for international detectives?
And the answer came out yes, but the party was called off.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was. But I wouldn't have gone anyway. Where is it?
Where's what?
The package from Hendricks.
Now, you can change your plans, big shot. You're getting a bundle of trouble instead.
What do you mean?
Turkeys aren't the only thing they're knocking off out on that ranch.
Huh?
Somebody's handy with a .32, and he's found a target.
You've been drinking?
Check the county emergency hospital. They'll show you the holes.
I send you out on a simple little job, and you come back with a crazy story about a shooting. You're out of your mind.
Now, listen, you. There's a big smell out in Calabasas.
What about my turkey?
The sheriff's office are going to have a lot of questions. You got the answers?
I don't know anything. I was miles away.
Well, then find out something. Check into the guy who shot. Find out who he is, what he does, and what he was doing out at Hendricks.
Where you going?
To scratch around in the Hendricks closet. They tell different stories about their wedded bliss.
Hey, Regan.
Yeah?
Where's my turkey?
It's too rich for your blood, Fatso. Stick to chicken. Well, I left him standing there with his apron hanging out. Miles Standish might get enough wind to do that extra hole to say who shot him, but more likely not. Anyway, with the bucket load he had, he would have sworn it was the last of the Mohicans. But there was an angle to that Hendricks woman, even if it didn't show. So I walked up the street to where my car was nuzzling a lamppost. The turkey and I were just going to wake up a newspaper office, only something changed my mind. A newspaper. It was wrapped around a bundle, and the bundle was under a guy's arm, and the arm was shutting the door of my car. Good evening, Pop.
Yeah. Hi.
Going somewhere?
Sure. Find a place to sleep, that's all.
Want a cigarette?
Say, I don't mind if I do. Thought you was a bull for a minute. You mind if I take two?
No, help yourself.
My brother smokes too. And not much in the streets these days.
Yeah, it's bad all over.
Well, something ought to be done.
Stick around, Pop.
No, Sonny. You give me smokes. I don't hit you for cash. It's a rule I got.
I'll make the touch.
What's that?
What's in the newspaper?
Russia.
Inside.
The funny paper.
Yeah, sure.
Well, now take it easy, boss. The guy's got a right to his privacy.
You weren't sleeping in my car.
Oh, so that's it, huh? Yours, huh? Small world, ain't it?
Yeah, come on, let's unwrap.
Now, it's Thanksgiving, Mac. Ain't you heard of Thanksgiving?
I'm going to plug my ears. Give.
Now, please, Mac, show me the spirit. Once in my life, both drumsticks.
Now, stop it, you're breaking my heart.
I mean it, Mac. Let me have it. I'll break the wishbone for you, Sonny. I will. You ain't got no use for all that meat, have you? Oh, you have, huh? Oh, so long, man.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it.
No, let go of my arm.
That was a pretty dance, but you should have changed your shoes.
What's that?
You didn't get those buckles in the bloodline.
Oh.
Now, come on, change the record. Who are you?
That's none of your business. Let go.
I said talk.
I will not.
You're from the Hendricks place, aren't you? You're from the... Oh.
Thank you, Phelps.
That's all right. Got the bird?
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. Nighty-night, Pilgrim.
You are listening to the story of the Pilgrim's Progress, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the Pilgrim's Progress.
Well, none of it made sense. The Lion sent me out to pick up a turkey on the Hendricks Ranch in Calabasas, and the Mr. and Mrs. were having an old-fashioned turkey shoot, and all the guests carried blunderbusses and dressed like pilgrims. Only it wasn't just the turkeys who were acting as targets. One of the Pilgrims ended up with some .32 caliber holes in him. And then the Hendricks lackey and a buddy shoved a gun at me and stole the lion's bird. Well, I picked myself up and I went home. A heavy man was doing a heist job on my icebox. He was pouring himself a glass of milk to wash down a sandwich he was munching on.
Hi, Regan.
Go right ahead. Help yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know how long I was going to have to wait, and I was getting hungry.
There's a restaurant just up the block.
I like it better this way, homemade. Fix you a sandwich? Pretty good deviled ham.
Come on, let's close the box and open your mouth, buddy.
Why not? We had a date, remember? Robinson, sheriff's office.
That's what I figured.
You don't mind me coming in like this, do you?
What if I did?
I'd leave. Sanctity of the home, you know. You can throw me out even though I got a badge.
Let's cut away the fat, mister. What do you want?
Answers to a couple of questions. What were you doing at the Hendricks place?
Picking up a turkey?
Well, it's a new one.
Now, look, you ask him. I'll answer him. Never mind the feature page.
How long have you known the Hendricks?
Never met him before.
Wrong answer.
What do you mean?
We found this out at the Hendricks house. A page torn out of the yellow directory with a red circle around International Detective.
Now, that doesn't say a thing.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm still scratching around.
It'll ruin your manicure.
You know, Regan, you don't seem to realize the seriousness of this. That Pilgrim you dragged in died.
Well, I figured.
We don't like unsolved murders messing up our record books.
Well, then you're wasting your time here.
I got lots of it. I don't come up for pension for 12 more years. What was that Pilgrim's name?
He gave me Miles Standish.
Sounds like a fake.
Well, don't count on it. I once knew a John Smith.
Give me the real name.
I don't have it.
All right. He's an out-of-town boy, but we'll track him down. Now, straighten out something for me, Regan. How long did you say you knew the Hendricks?
Now, look, I gave this to you once. Nothing's changed.
How come we find a $5,000 check in that joker's pocket made out of cash and signed by Hendricks? Go ahead, answer. Just don't make a date. You may not be available.
Yeah?
Mr. Regan, this is Mrs. Hendricks. I must see you right away.
Who did you say?
Mrs. Hendricks, you remember?
Charlie? No, there's no Charlie here. You must have the wrong number.
Sort of annoying, isn't it, Regan, when you get a wrong number late at night?
Well, it happens.
Sure it does. Happened to me once.
Anything else you want?
Another deviled ham sandwich?
Kitchen's closed.
Pretty rotten hospitality.
Well, you weren't asked.
Okay, I gotta move anyway. See you later, Regan. Keep the mud off your shoes.
ER3408.
Hello?
Mrs. Hendricks, this is Regan.
I just called you.
Well, I couldn't talk. What do you want?
Can you come out, Mr. Regan? Right away.
You still lonely?
Things aren't going well.
Well, murder's like that.
I've got to talk to somebody. Won't you please come?
Give me a reason.
I can tell you some things now I couldn't mention before.
Like why your husband wrote a $5,000 check to the dead man?
Check? But there must be some mistake.
What do you mean?
My husband couldn't write a check that large. He doesn't have any money of his own. It's all in my name.
All right. Put a lantern in the window, lady. I'll need some light. Well, I headed out there fast. But when I raised a racket with a brass knocker, nothing happened. I tried a window, and a couple of scratches later, I was in the hall. The place looked empty, like the Rose Bowl on January 2nd. I found Miss Hendricks' room, where I talked to her and stepped inside. The decorations were different.
Sheriff's office. Robinson.
This is Regan. I got something for you.
It better be good.
You're going into overtime.
What do you mean?
Bring some boys out to the Hendricks place with a wet rag. Somebody blew out Mr. Hendricks' fuse. Well, I backed out of the room and I made it to the bar trying to turn up a bottle. In the corner, something else turned up instead. Another dead body. The turkey Phelps and his buddy had stolen from me. Somebody real eager had done a carving job on it before it was even cooked. They'd torn it apart like they were looking for something. Well, it was morning before the sheriff's boys cleaned up the Hendricks mess when we got back to town. Robinson had a few more questions, but I was still short on the answers. Ballistics had one, though. Same gun did the job on both Miles Standish and Hendricks. And that's all. Homicide was getting places in a hurry, like a snail hauling a piano. Well, the lion was waiting for me outside the sheriff's office, and he pulled me to the side. His eyes were lit up like a pinball machine, and you could tell he'd thought to send up a greenback.
That trick's okay, Regan.
Good enough.
No rough stuff.
Oh, nothing that shows, no.
Think it, we're in luck. I've been turning up things. We've been playing the wrong horse.
Well, that figures you're good at picking losers.
Hendricks is a piker, a social climber.
He's a dead one.
I'll send him flowers. But I'm telling you, he could only write checks for 5 G's.
With a big bounce.
Somebody else in this thing can write bigger ones.
Well, let me guess who.
Mrs. Hendricks, that's who. I tell you, Regan, it pays to keep up your connection.
How high can she go?
The sky's below sea level.
What else you got?
Standish is a phony moniker.
That's grammar school.
Real name Jeffrey Kelly, age 42. He's a wholesale jeweler. He had a little business with Mrs. H. $250,000 worth.
That's going to run up his taxes.
He can handle it.
What did he do for her?
I drew a blank, but he deposited her certified check in the bank yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm. How does Phelps figure?
I don't know.
Well, who's the little man in the big overcoat?
I can't do everything. You got to do some work, too.
Yeah, sure.
Now, find Mrs. Hendricks. Offer her the services of international detective at our usual nominal rate, but don't underplay it. Now, get busy.
Where are you going?
Home to bed. A man's got to get some sleep.
Well, the time was ticking out, but the game wasn't over yet. I figured to have a fast finish, and the line had a pretty good idea about catching some shut-eye. So I moved to the office and to stretch out on the couch. But through the glass, I could see there was a light on. Company was inside.
Crestview 2045. Phelps, no luck. I looked all over. I told you, I tore the place apart. Nothing's here. I'm trying my best. Stop harping. Oh, well, it must be someplace else. Okay, right away.
Leave a nickel, Buster.
Huh? Oh, Regan.
You looking for something?
You, Pilgrim.
What else?
Plymouth Rock.
Come on, punk, level it.
It coax me.
All right, Nickers, you've been crying for this. Now, what now? Well, it felt good to watch the big guy fall. He folded in like a steeple in an earthquake. When his head bounced on the lion's carpet, it figured he was due for a long sleep, so I went through his pockets. Ticket stubs from the prize fights, the gun, and the pocket knife I dumped into the safe. It was a pass to the Dons game on November 25th. He must have swiped that from his boss, so I filed that in the lion's desk for future reference. But this guy Phelps had taken orders from somebody besides Hendricks. I just heard him do it on the phone. So when I turned up an old envelope with 832 North Palm scratched in the back, I crossed my fingers. He'd been hauling a Crestview number, and the phone book said that I had a lead. North Palm was in the Crestview exchange area. So I called for the cops to sweep up Brother Phelps, and I climbed back onto my broomstick. I drove out through Beverly Hills. I wound up in front of a big Spanish house with potted $10 bills on the driveway. There was a new Nash sticking out of the garage, and I walked around to take a look. But honest John had beat me to it.
Who's there?
Now, stick around. I want to talk to you.
Stand back. Stand back.
You like cars, don't you? Maybe you want a hot rod.
No, you don't. Get away from me.
Hey. Well, it was the little turkey fan that I'd last seen in an overcoat. Phelps' buddy. He took out of there like a cow in deer season, so I let him go. No license. Well, I took a look around the car he'd been sniffing, but nothing showed except the registration. It said Mrs. Agnes Hendricks. I went to the house and rang the doorbell, and she answered.
Oh, what's you? Mr. Regan.
All right, I'll ask myself in.
Yes, come in.
Who are you expecting, John Alden?
No, I'm glad to see you.
You know, I don't like girls who break dates.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't wait for you to come all the way to Calabasas.
You got impatient on account of a body in the house.
You saw him?
Yeah, after I tripped over him in your room.
I didn't do it.
Did I say you did?
You've got to believe me.
Relax. I look like a jury. You got multiple vision.
Oh, Mr. Regan, I was so frightened. I didn't know which way to turn.
We've been through all that woman driver routine. You don't like your husband. You wanted to get rid of him.
But only in Reno.
All right, now let's get back to page 1. You gave 250 G's to a jeweler named Kelly. You bought a rock.
What?
A rock, Plymouth Rock. It's a diamond. It's got to be.
Well,
why'd you do it? Who'd you buy it for?
Myself. My lawyer said I should get it for myself, that's all.
He likes you pretty, huh?
No, it was a community property thing. He said I could keep my husband from knowing how much money I had when he asked for a divorce settlement.
Only hubby got wind of the deal.
I guess so.
You're making sense. Only why did he write a check to Kelly?
Well, it was a small one. It must have been for a paste imitation, don't you think?
It's not my business. Keep dealing.
I mean, maybe he planned on switching them and getting my real one.
That's been done.
He actually did it. Because all through this, there's been a diamond in the place where I always keep it.
All right, you got a strong boy, Phelps. Had him out looking for the real diamond.
What?
And the other guy, the old man, was out in the garage.
No.
Phelps tore up my office, phoned here to you.
Mr. Regan,
Now, look, there's been 2 guys killed.
Mr. Regan.
Good evening, Pilgrim.
Where's your overcoat?
Stand still, please.
Yeah, my foot's in a crack.
Mr. Regan, this is John
Oh,
Orr.
can it, will you? I've seen him act one part already.
That's true. Mine is the only name that's real. This is my house, Mr. Regan.
Lawyer?
Yes, I came here to see him, Mr. Regan. I just got here before you
Be
did.
quiet, Agnes.
Well, I got it all now.
You won't keep it.
Phelps took his orders from you.
It's a waste of testimony.
You started this. Spotted the gem switch. Figured to cash in.
You're losing your chip.
Shut up, will you? I got aces. Hendricks outfoxed you. You never found the real diamond.
Five in the hand draws blood.
Mr. Alden, don't...
Now, you keep out of this, Agnes.
She's not in it. You are.
That's all, Regan.
All right, come on, drop it. Drop it.
Go with that.
I guess I hit him with the paste one.
Huh?
Look, the diamond, it broke.
Yeah.
It was just luck. I have the other one, too. I thought Alden was honest. I came to tell him I found it in my husband's cider.
Well, that tears it. Come on, Priscilla. That docks the Mayflower. Well, the whole thing folded in like an elephant on a pogo stick. Yeah, the lawyer did it all right, both of them. When he spotted what Hendricks was up to with that diamond switch, he moved in, but not for his client. The jeweler, Miles Standish, alias Kelly, got bumped because he was the only one who could tell the real diamond from a phony. But Hendricks got wise to the muscle act, and so he got shot. Well, the lion was real happy the way it worked out. That dame with the nerves wrote him a check. So he invited me out to Thanksgiving dinner. He offered me any part of the turkey that I wanted. I told him, but I got it anyway.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis. Produced by Sterling Tracy. Featured in tonight's story were Mary Lansing, Marvin Miller, Paul Frees, and Paul DeBove. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has disappeared, taken from her home by a man posing as a police officer. Your job, find her.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 10 minutes past 6 p.m. when I got to the basement of the city hall. Carpool.
Over here, Joe.
All right. Thad Brown will be down in a minute. Captain will follow us out later.
Okay. No contact yet?
No, we're still waiting. You take care of the local broadcast?
It's already gone out. They'll put the descriptions on the air every hour. How's it look to you now?
I don't know. Nothing more we can do to, make a contact. Oh, here's Thad Brown now. You want to squeeze over a little?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, Chief.
Hi. Let's go.
Might as well take Beverly Boulevard, huh, Ben?
Yeah, it's as fast as any.
You got the address there, Friday?
Yeah, it's 617 Paris Avenue. It's out by Echo Park.
Who's covering the house now?
Ross and Pacelli are staked out in a private garage across the street from the house. Donahoe and Wiseman are on duty inside the Kessel place. You want to smoke?
Thanks.
Light me one, will you, Joe?
Yeah.
But you got the story from the maid at the Kessel's house, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You check it out?
I'm pretty sure she's telling it straight. If anything's wrong, I don't think she's got a hand in it. Here you are, Ben.
No, thanks.
You got the call about 3 this afternoon?
Mm-hmm. 2 minutes after, we went right out and talked to the maid.
How'd she tell it?
She said she was fixing dinner about 2 this afternoon when the doorbell rang. She answered it, and a young man in a gray suit asked for Mrs. Kessel by name. He told the maid it was an emergency.
Yeah.
Well, the maid said Mrs. Kessel came to the door, and the man identified himself as a police officer. Told Mrs. Kessel her husband had been hurt in an accident, and she was to come right away.
Man show his identification?
Maid said no. Said Mrs. Kessel just took it for granted he was a cop.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mrs. Kessel got her coat and left with the man. About an hour later, her husband, Professor Kessel, got home. He wasn't hurt. He hadn't been in an accident. He hadn't seen his wife.
As soon as he heard from the maid what had happened, he got on the phone and called up.
What's the background of the husband, this Professor Kessel?
He's supposed to have quite a name. He's a professor of philosophy out at Simmons College, that small school out near Glendale.
Oh, yeah.
Devout man, president of one of the local synagogues.
Sure about the maid's story, huh?
Sure as we can be. She gave us a good description of the man who picked up Miss Kessel. I got it right here. Yeah. Here.
White male, American, 25 to 30 years old, 6 feet 170 to 80 pounds, gray suit, gray hair, brown shoes. What about the car he used?
Late model Chevrolet, dark blue, white sidewalls. That's all the maid could tell us. She didn't notice the license.
You better cut over on Westlake. That'll take us past the detour one.
Mm-hmm.
This Professor Kessel, has he been told what to do?
Yeah, he's been briefed. We've had a couple of men with him since this thing broke. He's taken it pretty hard.
How old a man is he?
Oh, his late 30s, wouldn't you say so, Ben?
Pretty close to 40. Nice fellow. Quiet.
2 kids in the family, just about school age, boy and a girl.
This next one ought to be Paris Avenue. Yeah. There's a big gray house down there, Skipper, white trim.
Don't park too close to the house.
This ought to do it right here, don't you think?
Yeah.
What time you got?
It's 6:15. Almost dark.
Where's the garage our men are covering from?
Can you see beyond that light pole there, the white stucco place?
Oh, yeah.
Next one here's a Kessel home.
Doesn't look very rich.
Neither do the Kessels. I don't think they got much money. Hi, Donahoe.
Come in. That the husband? Yeah, I just got a phone call a couple of minutes ago. I listened on the extension.
Who called?
Tried to trace it. The guy wouldn't stay in the line long enough.
What'd you say?
Tell the cops to stay away. Said it twice, tell the cops to stay away.
Yeah?
Said if they don't, I'll kill her.
The Kessel house had already been placed under strict surveillance, and the victim's husband instructed not to contact the abductors without knowledge of the police. To the working detective, there's only one rule to go by when the job of solving an abduction is put in his hands. Find the victim as fast as possible, get the victim to safety, then go after the criminal. It's not an easy job. The responsibility isn't light, and the outcome isn't always successful. If you press too hard, the abductor gets frightened and kills the victim. If you don't press hard enough, the criminal has more time to work for his payoff and then escape. Somewhere between the two was the right answer. We had to find it. 6:30 p.m. Special details of men were ordered out to the bus depots, the railroad terminals, and the airports. Roadblocks were set up at all main arteries leading into and out of the city. Every branch post office in Los Angeles was covered to watch for possible ransom notes addressed to Professor Kessel. 6:40 p.m. We met in the Kessel's living room.
Chief, Wiseman. Professor Kessel will be down in a minute. Says he's sorry to keep you waiting.
You feeling any better?
A little. Phone call about his wife shook him up a bit.
Well, how about those people who came in a few minutes ago? Who are they?
Relatives. Half a dozen of them. They're waiting back in the kitchen.
Well, how'd they know about Mrs. Kessel?
They didn't. They'd been invited to dinner. They didn't know anything was wrong till they got here.
Mm-hmm.
Kessel asked them to stay for the meal. He wants to keep up appearances for the sake of his kids. Doesn't want them to worry about their mother.
The dinner that important to him?
Well, tonight's the start of Pesach, the Jewish religion, Passover.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the big holidays.
Oh, I see.
Well, they started off with this dinner tonight, is that the way?
Yeah, big dinner. They call them Seders. Tonight they have the first Seder.
Good evening. Sorry to keep you waiting.
How are you?
No, please sit down.
We don't like to intrude on your privacy, Professor Kessel, but I think you can see it's necessary.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm very grateful. If there's anything at all I can do to help.
Do you have any idea who might be responsible for abducting your wife?
That's what has me so confused.
How do you mean, sir?
Well, I'm sure I have people who don't like me, who don't like us, but someone who would take my wife who says they'll kill her? No, I don't know who it could be.
How about the voice on the telephone, Professor? Did you recognize it at all?
No, it didn't sound like anyone I knew. He talked so fast, I could hardly understand the man.
Do you think the person who took your wife has some other motive besides holding her for ransom?
I can't understand that either. If it's money they want, why go after a teacher's wife? $1,500 in the bank, that's all I have. That and this house.
How about your immediate family, Professor?
Well, my wife, Ruth, her people have quite a bit. I guess you would call them rich. But it's their money, not mine. I can't understand why anyone would do it. For Ruth, if anything happened. Children.
Albert?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. We understand.
Albert?
Yes, Bertha, come in, would you, please? Gentlemen, this is my sister, Bertha. She's here with her husband for the Seder.
How are you?
Albert, it's late. Sundown. It's time to start the Kiddush.
Oh, yes. All right, Bertha. You tell everyone to come to the table. I'll be right in.
The officers will have the first Seder with us?
Yes, Bertha. You please set them places.
Yes, Albert.
Say, we don't mean to intrude here. We can wait outside while you have your dinner.
Oh, no, please. I'd be honored to have you sit at the table with us. No one in the house should be without food tonight. First Seder for Passover. It's the law.
How's that, sir?
Oh, excuse me, the Hebrew law. Would you come this way, please?
Yes, Professor.
He turned and led us down the hallway into the dining room. A long white cloth covered the table. In the center was a brightly polished brass candelabra holding 4 lighted tapers. There were a few platters of food already set out, and at the head of the table, where Professor Kessel stood, an open prayer book. In order not to add to the alarm of his 2 small children at the absence of their mother, Professor Kessel introduced us as friends from Simmons College.
This is Mr. Brown, Mr. Friday, Mr. Wiseman, Mr. Romero.
How do you do,
Of course.
Now, sit down, please, sit down.
Yeah, sure smells good.
Yeah. You got enough room there, Joe?
Oh, fine. Hey, how's it work, Wiseman? Should we join in the prayers?
Not unless you speak Hebrew.
Oh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol am, v'raimemanu mikol hashayin v'kedishanu b'mitzvosav. V'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu, v'avo moyadim l'simcha, v'agim uzmanim l'sasoin es yoim hagamatzos hazeh.
Yeah, telephone call.
All right. Friday talking.
This is Lacey, Joe. Just got a call from the morgue.
Yeah?
They brought in the body a few minutes ago. They checked the description.
Yeah?
They think it's Mrs. Kessel.
I went back into the dining room and told Chief Brown about the call. He told Professor Kessel. He said he'd finish as quickly as possible so as not to alarm the children and then go with us to the morgue to check the identity of the body. The prayers continued along with the dinner.
John?
Yes, Papa. Manishdono halalo aser, miko halelos, shebacho halelos anuchlin, chametzu matzah, halalo haser, kulo matzah.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Papa?
What was it, Wiseman? What was the boy saying?
It's part of the ceremony during the meal. He's supposed to ask his father certain questions about the Passover, and then the father answers him. I guess it was too much for Kessel.
Sure broke him up.
What'd the boy ask him?
Why is this night different from any other night?
.30 p.m. Sergeants Wiseman and Donahoe stayed on duty at the house while Chief Brown, Ben, and I drove Professor Kessel to the county morgue. On the way, we called in and checked with Captain Steed of Homicide. He told us there'd been no reports on Mrs. Kessel. 7:43 p.m. Ben and I took Kessel to the basement of the Hall of Justice, county morgue.
This way, Professor.
Oh, yes.
You sure you feel up to it?
Thank you. I'll be all right. Cold in here.
Yes, sir.
Hi, fellas. It's back here.
Okay, Archie. This is Professor Kessel, Archie.
How do you do?
This way.
Jane Doe, number 5. I called over as soon as they brought it in.
Yeah, thank you.
Found the body near Avenue 19, the riverbed, crossing the auto can.
No identification?
No. Here we are.
All right. Professor.
Thank God. Thank God.
Professor?
No, it's not my wife.
It seemed as if both the victim and whoever had taken her had vanished completely. At 11:30, Captain Steed, Ben, and I went across the street for a cup of coffee and a fried egg sandwich. We got back to the office at 10 minutes to midnight. Still no word. At 2 a.m., Ben and I drove back to the Kessel house to relieve Donahoe and Wiseman. We stood our watch in the living room. In the bedroom directly above, we could hear Professor Kessel pacing the floor most of the night. At 5 a.m., Captain Steed called. He told us a letter addressed to the professor had been reported at the Arcade Post Office. As soon as the outside of the envelope had been photographed and checked for prints, it would be brought out for Professor Kessel to open.
Front door?
Yeah, I'll get it. Chief?
Good morning.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Joe.
In here. Did you lift anything off the envelope, Lee?
Nothing we can use, no. Might have more luck with the letter.
Good morning. You brought the letter?
It's right here, Professor Kessel. I'd like you to stand by while we open it. This is Lieutenant Jones from our crime lab.
Lieutenant?
You'll check the note for fingerprints.
Oh, yes. I can get you a letter opener. I think this one over here.
Yeah, that's all right. I could use my pocket knife. You want to grab one corner of the paper, Bandit? Just the tip of the corner. Use your fingernail.
Okay.
Yeah, that does it. Open it. And pin down these corners here. What is it, Fred?
The words are put together with small printed letters. They all seem to be the same kind of typeface.
Letters were probably clipped from a book, then pasted together to form these words.
Who sent it? What does it say?
Thanks, Lee. If you want to see your wife alive, have 30,000 small bills tonight. Tell police I kill her. Instructions follow in mail.
No signature.
30,000. I haven't got the money. I can't get it. He'll kill her.
Mr. Kessel, there's still a chance.
But what can I do? I haven't got that much money. He says he'll kill her. What can we do?
What we've been doing?
Yes?
Wait.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
Fatima, the long cigarette that has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. And there's a very good reason for this amazing increase. Men and women everywhere are finding out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Lee Silva, news reporter.
I agree, says Jean Matson, airline stewardess.
I agree, says Mike Charters, attorney at law.
I agree, says Bab Beckwith, fashion stylist.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
So, enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
Wednesday, 7 a.m. With the aid of an iodine fume gun, Lee Jones checked the extortion letter from Mrs. Kessel's abductor for fingerprints and other marks of identification. He found nothing. The piece of paper on which the cut-out printed letters had been pasted was of a common variety sold in most stationery and 5 and 10 cent stores. Jones photographed both sides of the envelope and the letter. 11 a.m. Still no word. None of the special details had anything to report. At 1:45 p.m., another letter was delivered to the house. The envelope was open, the letter removed carefully and pinned down at the corners.
It's put together the same as the last one.
Yeah. Tonight, 11 o'clock. Come alone, your car. Tell police I kill her.
Is there more, Fred?
Yeah. Drive corner Lakeshore, Charter Street. Wrap money brown paper. Small bills. Come alone, your car. Put package by fireplug, then leave. Tell police and I kill her. No signature.
I haven't got the money.
Lakeshore and Charter. That shouldn't be too hard for us to catch. Sounds pretty much like an amateur.
That makes it touchy. If he's green, he'll scare easy.
If he's scared, he may kill her.
Not if we reach him.
How can I get the money?
You won't need any. We'll have a dummy package made up. There'll be a single dollar bill inside. There's to be newspapers cut to the size of currency. That's what you'll deliver.
But when he gets the package, when he finds out it's not the money, what's he going to think?
We'll explain it to him. Starting at 10 o'clock that night, more than a dozen cars from the Detective Bureau circled the area around Lakeside Avenue and Charter Street, keeping a distance ranging from 3/4 to a full mile away so as not to scare off the abductor. Some of the cars were parked in service stations, some in private driveways. The neighborhood was located in the heart of a new veterans housing project. For a full 5 blocks in either direction, there were no buildings of any kind where we could keep an eye on the package of fake ransom money. The owner of one of the completed houses nearest the spot on Charter Street was contacted, and he agreed to let us use his home as a lookout point for the stakeout that night. 9 p.m. Ben and I took up our positions on the roof of the lookout house. We were equipped with 2 pair of night binoculars and a walkie-talkie.
I could think of a few other places I'd rather spend the night.
How well can you see that intersection from here?
Comes in fine with these binoculars. The guy shows we ought to see him.
Yeah, I better check with the captain again. What time you got?
9:25. Where's the skipper parked?
Private driveway near Charter and Hayward. Friday to 105K. Friday to 105K. Come in. Got a clear view of the intersection. Nothing yet outside of cramped legs. You reading me okay?
Yeah, Joe. Fine. Over.
Roger. Standing by.
Sure lucky my kid can't see me now.
Why?
He'd never understand. Why should his father be sitting on top of somebody's roof late at night? He'd never get it.
We waited. 10 o'clock came, 10:30. At exactly 11 p.m., as we watched through our night binoculars, we saw Professor Kessel drive up to the designated location 5 blocks away, place the fake package of ransom money by the fire hydrant near the intersection, and then drive away. 11:30. We waited. Midnight. 2 a.m. Nothing happened. The package was still lying by the fire hydrant undisturbed. Captain Steed checked with us periodically on the walkie-talkie. At 3:30 a.m., we were still waiting. At a few minutes past 6 a.m., Professor Kessel was directed to return to the intersection, pick up the package, and drive back to his home. His wife's abductor had failed to show. Maybe the suspect had sensed a trap. Maybe he had no idea of showing up in the first place. Maybe Mrs. Kessel was dead. We didn't know. 10 a.m., Thursday. No further contact from the abductor. A special detail from Homicide, including Ben and I, were ordered on a door-to-door canvass of the general area around Lakeside Avenue and Charter Street. After 7 hours of ringing doorbells and asking questions, we came across a Mr. Harold Olander, one of the longtime residents of the Silver Lake area. We showed him the general description of Mrs. Kessel's abductor.
Yeah, that could be Thompson. Don't know for sure, though.
Where did you see this Thompson, Mr. Olander?
Oh, I saw him lots of times. He rents that cottage of mine down the street there. You see? The white one?
Mm-hmm. Does this Thompson have a car?
Thompson? Yeah, new one.
I wonder if you could describe it.
Chevrolet, nice looking. Blue color, I think.
Could be, Joe.
Is Thompson in the house now, Mr. Olander?
Nope. Saw him drive away early this morning. I can show you the house if it's official police business.
It is.
Well, come on, then. I got the key right here. Cottage just down the block there. See the one I mean? The white one?
Yes, sir. How long's Thompson been in the house?
2 weeks tomorrow.
You noticed anything unusual about him?
Nothing special. Comes and goes at odd hours. Then a lot of people do. I don't pry. Sit out right here.
Does he usually keep all the blinds drawn?
Yeah, now that you mention it. A lot of people do, I guess.
You want to check back in the kitchen, Ben?
Yeah, right.
And look at the living room, Sergeant.
Yeah.
On a stick of furniture. That's funny.
You sure you didn't see anybody else in this house besides Thompson?
No, he's the only one.
Looks like it, Joe. Found this woman's purse stuffed in one of the kitchen cabinets. This sales slip was in the purse.
Let's see. This is Albert Kessel. Is there a phone here, Mr. Olander?
Out in the hall.
All right.
Is it still connected?
Yeah.
Joe, I'll check back in the bedrooms while you're phoning.
Right, Ben. No, you better stay with me, Mr. Olander, if you will.
Oh, all right.
City Hall.
Homicide.
Homicide?
You any idea where this Thompson is now, Mr. Olander?
No, he comes and goes. I don't like to pry.
Homicide, Steve.
This Friday, Skipper, we got one for you.
I've got one for you. Mrs. Kessel, she's been found.
Mrs. Kessel was unharmed. She had no idea where she had been or why she had been suddenly released. All additional information which she could furnish on the suspect was immediately relayed to the entire state in an APB. 2 hours later, at a neighborhood garage Thompson patronized, we got his license number. We ran it through DMV and found the car was registered in the name of Charles Cottrell, 10115 Green Oak Drive, 7 p.m.
Yes?
Police officers. Is Charles Cottrell here?
Yes. Come in, please. I knew you'd find him. I kept hoping, but I knew you'd find him.
Where is he, ma'am?
He'll give himself up. I'm his wife. I talked to him. There won't be any trouble. No trouble.
Where is he?
You've got to understand, he didn't know what he was doing. We needed money. He didn't know what he was doing.
We'll have to search the house, ma'am.
Charlie! Charlie, come downstairs! Come down!
Get your hands behind your head.
I don't have a gun.
Charlie.
All right, Ben.
Behind your back.
Tell him, Charlie. You didn't know what you were doing. Tell him.
We needed the money. I thought it'd work. What'd I do wrong?
Come on.
Should have worked. I planned it all out. Where'd I make a mistake?
When you thought of it.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Charles Cottrell was tried and convicted of kidnapping and received the sentence as prescribed by law. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Next, here's Sarah Berner in Sarah's Private Caper on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to hit-and-run felony detail. A dead body is found in the streets in the early hours of the morning. There's only one clue, a set of skid marks on the pavement. Your job, find the killer.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 19th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of traffic division. My partner is Ben Romero. The boss is Lieutenant Calfrey, Commander AID. My name's Friday. It was 7:55 a.m. when I got to the second floor at 123 South Figueroa Street. Accident investigation. Hit and run felony detail.
Hit and run felony. Morning, Joe.
George?
Yeah. How is it?
Oh, it's not much better. Still aching.
Rough.
A lousy thing kept me up most of the night.
Check with that dentist I told you about?
Yeah, I did. Says it's a wisdom tooth. Yeah, this one here.
Oh, yeah.
Says it's got to come out. I'm supposed to go back and see him today.
That's rough. Remember, a friend of mine had his wisdom teeth out. Hurt like the devil. Terrible. Finally pulled him. Ached for 5-6 days after.
Roger.
Excuse me, Joe. Yeah, McD.
Better have a 15-7 on that follow-up you handled yesterday, huh?
Okay. I got most of it down. I'll finish it up.
Friday?
Hi. Ben come in yet?
He's down the record bureau. We'll see that jaw of yours. Hasn't gone down much.
It's a bad wisdom tooth. Dentist says he's going to have to yank it.
Bum deal, eh?
That's the first time I ever had any trouble with him.
I remember a few years back, my sister Gertrude had trouble with a wisdom tooth in Pacton.
Yeah?
Whole side of her face was swollen. Poor kid was in terrible pain, full week. Even after they pulled it, it still hurt.
Hi, Joe. Picked up the overnight reports down at Records, Mac, here.
Oh, thanks, Ben. This one on top here. I'd like to have you two check it out.
Dead body report.
Yeah. They left me a note on it. That's about all. Hard to figure.
What's the story?
Just what you see in the report.
The victims, Edward Raymond Stokes, 732 Delano Street, apartment 2.
His body was found in the gutter near 63rd and Vermont, 3 o'clock this morning. No witnesses. Only one piece of evidence.
Yeah, see, they got it listed here. Skid marks near the body. Is that all?
That's it. Apparent hit and run.
Where's the body, man?
Neighborhood mortuary out there. Emerald Hills Funeral Home. One of the deputy coroners handled the body. A fellow named Joe Larimore.
Anybody claim it yet?
No.
Okay. Ben, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
We'll check you later, man.
Yeah. If you need any help, I've got McClendon and Rogers on hand.
Right. How do we manage to draw all the choice ones? I don't know. Skid marks and a dead body. Yeah. Oh, say, I almost forgot. How's your jaw? Oh, it still hurts. Oh, it's tough. Yeah, it's still swollen. Mm-hmm. What did Dennis say? Wisdom tooth. Oh, miserable. Yeah. Wife had the same thing a couple of years back. Dennis tried to yank the tooth and it broke right in two. Finally got it out. That's good. Funny thing about wisdom teeth. What's that? After they pull them. Hurts for 5-6 days. 8:33 a.m. Ben and I drove out to 63rd in Vermont and rechecked the spot where the dead body of Edward Stokes had been found. According to the report, the body was found 2 feet west of the easterly curve and 32 north of 63rd Street on Vermont. We examined the skid marks. They showed definite signs of being a lot older than 24 hours. The consistency of the rubber was weak, and there were heavy dirt smudges over them, indicating more wear than they could have possibly had since the estimated time of the victim's death. We got back in the car and drove to the Emerald Hills Funeral Home at Vernon and Denver Avenue. Sure is rotten weather for April, huh? Yeah. These funeral homes, you ever notice it? What's that? Why do they always put awnings over the windows? They never open the drape. I don't know. Come on. Funeral going on. You know where the office is? There's a brass plate on that door over there. Let's have a look.
Yes, sir.
Here's somebody, Jim. Oh.
Gentlemen, may I be of service?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to Mr. Larimore. I believe he's a deputy coroner.
I'm Mr. Larimore. You came about the hit-and-run victim?
Yeah, that's right. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. We'd like to check the body if we could.
Certainly. It's back this way.
Understand you moved the body from the scene of the accident here to the mortuary.
Yes, that's right. Early this morning. Unusual case. Careful, there's 2 steps down just inside the door.
Oh, thank you. Why do you say it's unusual, Mr. Larimore?
Well, here, let me show you. There. Now, for one thing, the victim had a basal skull fracture. I don't know about you gentlemen, but in the hit-and-run cases I've handled, a basal fracture is a pretty rare thing.
Well, it is possible, isn't it?
Yes, it's possible. Anything's possible, as they say. But it's not usual. A few other things here, too.
Yeah.
Notice the victim's knee here. Single clean cut. Also these wounds on the head. I've never seen anything like it in hit-and-run cases I've been called on.
Yeah, that wound on the knee doesn't jive, does it? If he was hit by a car, the knee should be skinned up quite a bit.
Exactly. Well, you know how it usually is. The automobile hits the victim. There's always signs that the body was either dragged or thrown. Shredding of clothing, skin knees, legs, elbows. No sign of that here.
You don't think the victim could have been killed by hit-and-run cars, eh?
No, I don't say that. It's possible that it might have been a car, but, well, let's say it's not very probable.
Has anybody at all inquired about the body, Mr. Larimore?
No.
It's funny.
Hold on. Mr. Larimore, may I see you a minute, please?
All right, Tom. Excuse me a moment.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah. Where do we start? I don't know. Maybe we won't have to. Another lead like this, and we can turn it over to homicide.
Sergeant?
Yeah?
There's a young lady in the lobby.
Yeah?
She wants to claim the body.
The girl was shown the body. She identified it as that of Edward Raymond Stokes. She gave her name as Marion Fuller, the victim's common-law wife. After she recovered from her shock, she asked if she might sit down for a while and rest. We took her into one of the offices in the mortuary, and Ben got her a glass of water. She told us that she had last seen Stokes alive at about 1 a.m. that morning. They'd been drinking together at a neighborhood bar on Vermont Avenue between 63rd and 64th Streets, half a block from where the victim's body had been found sprawled in the gutter. Why don't you sit down over there, Miss Fuller?
Thanks.
How long did you know Edward Stokes, Miss Fuller?
About 6 years. On and off. We've been together pretty much the last couple of years, though. Oh, my head.
Would you mind telling us exactly what happened while you were with Stokes last night? Everything you can remember?
I can't think. This headache's killing me.
Well, we should try, Miss Fuller. It's important.
Well, Eddie and I had dinner together at the Spanish Oven, place down on South Fig. That was about 7:45. Then we drove out to the Brown Barrel on Vermont, the bar I told you about.
Yeah.
Eddie and I go there most of the time. We stayed there and drank, played a little shuffleboard. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we stayed too long. Drank a little too much. I started talking to this fella next to me, and he got sore. Always got jealous when he was drunk. Poor Eddie.
Did Eddie fight with this other man, Miss Fuller?
No, I stopped him. That made Eddie mad. He never could drink right. He always wanted to pick a fight.
Who was the other man, you remember?
No, I don't. I guess I had a lot to drink, too. He's just some guy at the bar. His headache.
Well, it's not going to take much longer. Just a few more questions.
That organ's getting on my nerves.
What happened after you broke up the argument between Stokes and the other man?
Oh, nothing. We stayed in the bar. Eddie played shuffleboard most of the time. I was one of the booths drinking.
Yeah?
Around 1 o'clock, I started feeling sick, so I went outside and sat in the car. I guess I passed out there.
In your car?
No. I guess it belonged to one of the fellows in the bar. I passed out, and that's all I can remember.
Did you sleep in the car all night?
No. I guess whoever owned it drove me home.
Well, how did they know where you lived?
It must have been one of her friends. I don't know. I don't remember anything until this morning. They phoned me up and said Eddie was dead.
Who phoned you, Miss Fuller?
One of our friends. I don't remember. I had a rotten headache.
Well, you can do better than that.
I tell you, I don't remember. They phoned and told me Eddie was dead. Somebody ran Eddie down.
All right.
Where are we going?
Downtown. We'll have a stenographer take your statement.
Oh, I've got a terrible hangover. I've never had one as bad as this.
Neither has Eddie. Let's go. On the way back to the office, Ben stopped at a drugstore, and I picked up a box of aspirin. The wisdom tooth was giving me trouble again. The clerk at the soda fountain fixed something for Marion Fuller's hangover. When we got her back to the office, we questioned her for more than an hour, but she gave us only one additional piece of information. The victim, Eddie Stokes, had been married before and divorced. His ex-wife lived out in the valley with their 2 children, and on several occasions she came to see Stokes at the Vermont Avenue bar when he failed to make the monthly payments for the support of the children. Each time they'd argued bitterly. We had a police stenographer take the Fuller-woman's statement, and then she was released. 10:45 a.m., Sergeants Rogers and McClendon were assigned to check out the Vermont Avenue bar where Stokes had last been seen alive. Ben and I drove out to the valley to the home of Catherine Stokes, the victim's former wife. She met us on the front porch. Inside, it sounded like one of the children was practicing the piano. We told her what had happened.
Last week, I think it was. Yes, Thursday last week. Eddie hadn't sent any money for the kids' support for 3 months. I hated to chase after him like that. There wasn't anything else I could do.
Where did you meet him, Miss Stokes?
That bar he used to hang around. It's over on Vermont, called the Brown Barrel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wouldn't you like to come inside?
Yes, thank you. Do you happen to know anybody by the name of Marion Fuller?
Yes, Eddie mentioned her. What's a man seeing a woman like that?
Do you know anything about her at all?
No. Whenever I saw Eddie, he'd mention he was running around with her. Yes, he wanted to make me jealous.
Was your husband a pretty heavy drinker?
Yes, he was. So I got the divorce. Eddie was such a fine boy when we got married. Good home.
You didn't know any of the people he'd been running around with lately?
No, just the full of them, and that's all.
Can you think of anything at all that might possibly have a bearing on his death?
No. Eddie was probably drinking, wandered in the street, and a car hit him. I don't know. Oh, there's the bakery, man. I've got to get some bread and a few things. Excuse me?
I think that's about all, don't you, Joe?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll leave our card here, Miss Stokes, in case you want to contact us for any reason.
All right. It was so wonderful when we were married, Eddie and I. My folks gave us this house as a wedding present. We got wonderful presents.
Yeah.
We had everything we wanted. A car, nice house, kids. It was wonderful till we started drinking. Then everything went. His job, everything. Started all of a sudden. I never knew why.
Yes, ma'am.
How do men get that way? How do they start?
I don't know. We only see a part of it.
Yeah?
When they finish. 12 noon. Ben and I drove back into town to Vermont and 63rd Street for a meet with Sergeants Rogers and McClendon. They told us that they checked out the bartender who'd been on duty the night before and also 7 of his customers. Their stories were almost identical. Each of them remembered seeing Eddie Stokes at the bar. Each of them remembered he was playing shuffleboard, that he was drinking heavily, and that he left the bar at about 1:45 a.m. All of us had the idea that for some reason the bartender and the customers were lying. In most cases, it's hard to find 2 witnesses who tell identical stories, let alone 7. For the rest of that afternoon, Rogers, McClendon, Ben, and I spent our time canvassing the neighborhood in the vicinity of the Brown Barrel Tavern. 4:45 p.m. We talked to the proprietor of a small grocery store 2 blocks down the street from the tavern. He told us that he rarely visited the bar, but that he thought that the man who ran the butcher shop next to his place, Mr. Eugene Murray, was a regular patron of the Brown Barrel. So we went next door.
Could you make that 2 pounds of ground round, Mr. Murray? We're having company tonight.
Yes, ma'am. 2 pounds.
Nice looking meat, huh, Joe?
Yeah, the steaks look good, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
2 pounds. All right. Anything else now, Mrs. Gidney? Got some nice fresh kidneys today.
No, George won't touch kidneys. That'll be all. You put it on the bill, won't you, Mr. Murray?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir, gentlemen. Can I help you?
Police officers, Mr. Murray. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, sure. Glad to help out if I can.
Have you ever been in the Brown Barrel Tavern down the next block there?
Brown Barrel? I go there all the time. Say, would you mind if I fix up an order while we're talking? The customer's going to pick it up in a couple of minutes. I don't like to keep waiting.
Sure, go ahead.
I got to go to the ice box.
When's the last time you were in the Brown Barrel, Mr. Murray?
Last night. Wife and I went to the movies. One of them English pictures. Lousy picture. We ducked in at the barrel on the way home for a beer.
About what time was that?
Pretty close to 2. What's the matter? Some kind of trouble?
Did you notice anything unusual while you were in there? Anybody fighting or arguing?
No, we were only in there a couple of minutes, but now that you mention it, there was something funny happen.
What was that?
Well, the bartender Carl and a half dozen of the neighborhood gang were back in one of the booths talking together. They seemed kind of nervous. None of them seemed to be having a good time.
Yeah.
The wife and I yelled hello at them, but they kind of gave us a go-by. Then this drunk came up to us. Then he, say, officer, would you reach that knife for me?
Which one?
That one.
Oh, yeah, here you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this drunk came up to us and whispers to me, say, you better get out of here. There's been a fight. Hey, isn't that a beautiful piece of meat? Well, I didn't pay much attention to him. He was pretty drunk, could hardly understand him. I guess they have a lot of fights in there anyway.
Is that all he told you? There's been a fight?
Yeah, that time. But he came back a couple of minutes later and whispered the same thing. You better get out. There's been a fight, he said. The wife and I just laughed at him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I know all about it. A guy's been murdered.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
Fatima, the long cigarette that has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. And there's a very good reason for this amazing increase. Men and women everywhere are finding out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Dick Highland, sports columnist.
I agree, says Shirley Gelman, registered nurse.
I agree, says Frank Fenton, author.
I agree, says Nancy Appel, news writer.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
So, enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
6 p.m. Ben and I went back to homicide to turn the case over to them. They asked us to handle the investigation for another day because they were short of men at the moment and because there was still a big doubt as to whether or not Eddie Stokes had really been murdered. Actually, the only solid lead we had was the second-hand testimony of a drunken witness, that and the deputy coroner's doubts that Stokes was actually the victim of a hit and run. Mr. Murray, the butcher, didn't know the name of the man who told him that there'd been a murder, and he could give us only a meager description. We brought Marion Fuller back in and re-questioned her. She stuck to her story. She didn't remember anything. She was released again. Looked like we were in for a long night. We went across the street for a bowl of soup and a sandwich, and when we got back, Ben called his wife and told her he'd be working late. I called my mother.
Working late again? Oh, Joseph. How's your tooth feeling?
Well, it's a little better, Ma. It's still pretty tender. I'm going to go to the dentist tomorrow.
Yes, you've got to have that attended to right away. Bad teeth can poison your whole system. You be sure and see that dentist. Is he a good one?
Yeah, he's okay. One of the fellas down there told me about him. I'll see you a little later, huh? Don't wait up.
Yes. And you don't work too late, Joseph. You need your rest.
Yeah, okay, Ma. Goodbye.
All right, Joseph. Goodbye.
Joe.
Yeah.
Just talked to that butcher's wife on the phone, Miss Murray.
What'd she have to say?
Asked her the same questions we asked Murray. She couldn't add much. Same story.
Got something for you?
Yeah, Matt?
Rogers and McClendon just called in. They're still out at that bar.
Yeah?
Finally got somebody to talk a little.
What'd they get?
The bar boy out there. He says there was a fight happened about 1:30. Doesn't remember who was fighting.
Not much, yeah?
Bar boy's name is Milner. He told Rogers he went outside about 20 minutes to 2 to put the garbage out. He saw the Fuller woman asleep in that car.
You get the license number?
No. Said there was a ticket on the windshield.
Ben and I checked with the sergeant of the watch at 77th Street Division. He told us Unit 111 was assigned to the area where the brown barrel was located. In checking their worksheet, we found that Unit 111 had issued a hang-on citation the night before to a car parked near 6330 and 1/2 Vermont Avenue, the address of the Brown Barrel Tavern. We checked the license number through DMV and found that the car was registered to a William R. Huddy, 14 Naylor Street. We drove out to the Naylor Street address and talked to Huddy's wife. She told us he was playing in a shuffleboard tournament that night at a bar down on South Olive Street. 8:55 p.m. we checked in at the bar.
Bartender.
Oh, yes, sir. What'll it be?
Do you know if there's a William Huddy in here? He's supposed to be playing a shuffleboard game here tonight.
Oh, yeah, I know. He's with the Highland Park team. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that's him up now. Out on the blue shirt.
Thank you. Come on, Ben.
That's it, Bill. Good weight. Make it another 3. That cleans him. Good one, Bill.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Beat that one, Max.
Excuse me?
Yeah?
Are you William Huddy?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you a minute.
Oh? What about?
I'd like to ask you a few questions. You step over here a minute.
Yeah, all right.
Were you at the Brown Barrel Tavern out on Vermont last night?
Yeah, I was. Why, what's the matter?
You know Marion Fuller?
Yeah, she hangs around the place. She goes with a guy named Eddie.
Did you drive her home last night?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. She passed out in my car. She's a nice kid, but she drinks a lot. I drove her home.
Do you mind telling us what happened at the bar last night when you were there?
Well, I come in about 9 o'clock and I start playing shuffleboard with a couple of guys. This guy, Eddie Stokes, is one of them.
Yeah?
We got in a beef with a guy at the bar over Marion. It's nothing big, though. The guy left after a while.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
That's about all. I left the place around 1:30, and this Eddie was beefing with some merchant seaman about that time.
Was the Fuller girl still at the bar at that time?
No, when I went outside, I saw her sleeping in my car, so I drove her home. I left her off and then come back to the bar. That's when they told me.
Told you what?
Well, they said Eddie had a fight with this merchant seaman. They said it'd be better if we kept it quiet.
Who told you that?
Call the bartender. But I got the real story from one of the fellows I was playing shuffleboard with, Leo McCarty.
What did he tell you?
Well, he said that when Eddie Stokes left, the merchant seaman followed him out. He said he chased Eddie. McCarty went out about 5 minutes later.
Yeah?
Well, the merchant seaman was gone, and Stokes was lying in the gutter down the street.
Mm-hmm. Did McCarty look at him?
Yeah, he said Stokes looked pretty bad. So he looked like he was dead, but I wouldn't believe that.
Why not?
This McCarty always exaggerates.
10:15 p.m. We had William Huddy come back to the office with us, where we questioned him further and took his statement. Then we had his friend Leo McCarty brought in, along with the bartender at the Brown Barrel Tavern and the customers that he'd framed his story with. McCarty was the first to give us the straight story, and then the others followed. The bartender, Carl Jansen, who also owned the bar, was the last to break.
How about it, Jansen? Why didn't we get a straight story to begin with?
Well, what about the publicity? How would that look? A murder around my place.
Could work out worse than that, Mr. Jansen. You've been withholding evidence. You talked these people into the same deal.
I'd protect myself. The newspapers, all the scandal, the recommends business. I had to keep it quiet. It's not my fault that Stokes was killed. I didn't do it. I'm not to blame.
No, but you know who is to blame. Now, how about it? Who is he?
Well, he works on the ships. Comes in here most of the time when he's in port.
What's his name?
Henry Baxter. I've cashed some of his paychecks.
Ben, you better get the captain, huh?
Yeah.
Hit and run felony Friday. Oh, yeah. No, just a minute. For you, Jansen.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Oh. Yes, Rita. Just a minute. Sergeant.
Yeah.
It's my wife. She's at the bar now. She thought you ought to know.
Yeah?
Henry Baxter. Frida says he just came in.
I talked to Jansen's wife and told her to delay Baxter as long as possible without arousing his suspicions. 11:25 p.m. Ben and I and Mr. Jansen, along with Rogers and McClendon, drove out to the Brown Barrel Tavern on Vermont. When we got there, Baxter was gone. Mrs. Jansen told us he was pretty drunk by the time he left the bar. She'd watched him go down one block, cross the street, and then enter a small nightclub on the opposite side called the Pink Shamrock. She'd been keeping an eye on the place, and as far as she knew, Baxter was still inside. We went down the street to the nightclub. Rogers and McClendon covered the back entrance. We got inside in the middle of a floor show. A blonde was doing some kind of a dance.
Can you spot him, Mr. Jansen? No, I don't see him yet.
How about over on this side, back in the corner there?
No, he's not there. It's so dark in here, I can't see too well anyway. There's the rear exit to the place. He could have slipped out that way.
Gentlemen, like to have a picture taken? Souvenir photograph?
No, thanks. Maybe we better check with the waiter, Ben.
Sorry, just a minute. That man over there at that table. Where? Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Where?
Right there, next to that pillar. Just behind it, you see. Yeah, that's him.
All right. Come on, Ben. You stay right here, Mr. Jansen.
You bet.
Waiter? Hey, waiter. Another Coke high. You waiter? Another Coke high.
Your name Henry Baxter?
Yeah, that's right. What?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Yeah? Well, down.
Outside.
Outside nothing. Can't even see a show.
Let's go outside. Come on, Baxter.
Hey, wait a minute. What's the beef, anyway?
You know what the beef is?
Sure, I know what the beef is.
Come on, let's
The lousy punk Eddie Stokes trying to give me a bad time. Now he knows what a bad time is.
Baxter, come on.
Lousy punk Stokes. I showed him how it's done.
Keep your voice down.
I slugged him. Pounded his head on the curb. He was drunk. He never knew what happened.
Come on, outside.
Hey, everybody, I killed Eddie Stokes. I killed him.
Right down. Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, okay.
How's that tooth feel, Joe?
Seems okay.
Better have the dentist yank it out first thing in the morning.
I think I'll hold off for a while.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On July 30th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Henry John Baxter was tried and convicted in Superior Court of manslaughter. He received the sentence as prescribed by law and is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Sarah Berner stars in Sarah's Private Caper next on NBC.